chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerritt at the line.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's going the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Good evening, hello, and welcome to SimSpeed TV for a very, very special event. Second annual Tristo's Grand Annual Race for Life. Last year, we had a little bit of fun racing the midgets around. This year, we are running the Legends at Oran Park. Very, very cool format for racing tonight. My name is Jay Kennedy. Alongside me in the booth, Cameron Dance. Cam, it's going to be a good fun night of racing. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be some pretty cool racing. Some really cool prizes up for grabs, but at the end of the day, we're all about raising some money to help Tristo.
Yeah, absolutely. Great night of racing ahead with plenty of action going on. Some interesting formats just spice the racing up. So, yeah, looking forward to, and again, for a very good cause.
Yeah, 100%. Should be a great cause tonight. And last year, I remember we had a great night of fun in the midgets at... I don't actually remember where it was. It was midget racing. I remember that. We had Tristo's midget shootout, and that was good fun last year. Out on track now, we have all of our drivers in tonight's field. Most of our drivers out on the track at the moment. Let's just see someone roll over. We're in practice at the moment. Remember, you can donate. The donate link is on screen there. PayPal.me/JP's SimShed. Thank you to JP for his hard work in putting everything together behind the scenes. Been a big group of people working to get this event on to help Tristo out. Tristo's been a big member of our sim racing community for quite a while, so to help him out tonight's going to be really, really fun, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good bloke. Definitely is right into sim racing, so it's going to be really, really good to support him and further aid in his unfortunate case of motor neuron disease. So going to be really, really good night of racing, and for, again, like we said, for a really, really good cause in person.
Yep, 100%. And some really cool prizes up for grabs. First place overall tonight wins a really, really cool shifter from Jinx Shifters. So that'll be a really cool prize for someone tonight. Second prize is a 12-month iRacing subscription. Third prize is a V8 Supercar shifter knob. And we've got a few other mystery prizes as well. Best presented car gets a mystery prize from Velocity Magazine. Hard Charger Award wins a prize from Worm Paints. Highest place finisher in VR wins a cover set from VR Covers. And then there's a mystery door prize as well to win a button box, which some really cool prizes. And I'm wishing that I wasn't broadcasting so I could have got out there on the track. Legends around Oran Park is a pretty cool combination as well. We cast our minds back to see a Porsche come through. That is the safety car for tonight. Cast our minds back 6 years ago to our Race to Reality series that we ran here with Race Centre, where Madison Down won a drive in an Aussie racing car from this exact combination. Aussie racing cars being the legends at Oran Park.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a week while ago. I wasn't even actually on the service at that point, but yeah, it's
you were still
quite a
at
while
school.
ago. Then that I actually would have been. Yeah, so
Jeez, I'm old.
but yeah, it's good to be back here at Oran Park. We haven't actually seen this track, especially the south layout, get a whole lot of use. It's one of those more secretive or unused layouts of Oran Park, which does actually provide really, really good racing. So will be very, very interesting to see how tonight goes, especially heading into turn one, which instead of going straight ahead towards what would be normally turn one, you end up taking a very, very hard left.
The interesting thing with it is that for the first two races, so we'll run 2 heat races tonight, 10 laps around the south course, which should be fairly quick races, around about 45, 46 second lap. And then for the main event, later on in the evening, we run the full layout. So all the drivers will be doing practice around the south layout. Big curveball, they have to go and run the long track without any practice. So that should be really, really fun to see how that plays out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one heck of a curveball to go from a very, very short layout to all of a sudden a much longer layout and a lot more opportunities to pass. So it will be very, very interesting to see who can adapt best and who's going to know the layouts that well. So we'll see what happens, but qualifying is underway.
Yeah, qualifying is about to start. Now, apologies for those of you watching our stream on YouTube at the moment. YouTube is having a few technical gremlins tonight, so our apologies. The glitches that are happening on the broadcast are well and truly beyond our control. But really cool to see all of the cars heading out on track for the first time. One of the prizes we do have to give away is a prize for the best presented livery, and we've been given the honours, along with the people watching in the YouTube chat, to decide who that is. So we have to go and analyse all of these liveries and all of these looks and see who we decide is the best looking car. And there's quite a few really, really cool looks out there. Also, I do like the livery presented by SSR with Brett and Hobson at the wheel. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Those SSR cars are usually pretty well presented and have a very cool look to them. That 88, especially in that flare of yellow, makes it stand out very, very brightly and is definitely an extra touch to that livery.
Yeah, 100%. And also some cool looks as well. We always see some really cool presented cars from the DPR racing crew. Predominantly white livery as opposed to the orange and the blue that we normally see on those cars. Obviously they're there, but a little bit more predominant. And the orange at the front there, just to help make that stand out a little bit, looks pretty cool as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely most noticeable with those DPR cars. They tend to run that white and darkish blue, or have a little bit of orange in there as well to suit their sponsors. But yeah, that DPR livery is definitely one that stands out with that orange front end.
We'll go through all of the liveries throughout the night, and along with you and I, Cam, the YouTube chat and the Facebook chat can help. And as I said, our apologies for the stream having a couple of glitches. It's well and truly beyond our control. YouTube is having a little bit of a heart attack tonight, so our apologies for that. At the moment, Josh Anderson, who are quite familiar to these cars, I wonder why, but he's currently on the top of the timesheets. He's just got a little bit of contact there from Reese Keane, who's in second, who was just ahead of him. Those are at the top of the timesheets at the moment, but quite a few big names in this field that we could see move their way up. One of them on screen now, Ethan Grigault, about to start a flying lap with the current best, Brenton Hobson, 45.3.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely some very, very big names and more well-known names as well in this community. You've got the likes of Adam Briggs, the recently crowned OSR Formula 3 champion, Brenton Hobson, Chris Coxegg, Clint Shane Smith, Danny Vassell, Ethan Grigault, like you said, Joshua Anderson. I mean, the list goes on. It's just really, really good to see so many people getting out here and supporting.
Yeah, 100%. It's great to see all of these guys have jumped in to help out, reached in their pocket, paid the donation entry fee, out on track helping support a great cause. The Grigault about to cross the line. Target time very low 45, crosses the line for a 45.5. That'll slot him into the top few positions, top 3 for him. Another driver very familiar to these cars, Jack Boyd. Actually looks very similar to the car he drove on the weekend.
It actually does. The colour almost does match. It was a little bit darker, the car, red, the car that he did drive on the weekend, but yeah, very, very similar colour scheme to what he had. So it's almost as though you can look at the car and go, oh, yep, I know who's driving that one.
Yeah, definitely going to stand out with that very, very pink bonnet as well. It comes through very, very strange, the South Circuit. Of course, we're so familiar with the bridge here at Oran Park, not using that at all. So it's a little bit confusing, a little bit off-putting to turn a little earlier coming down the front straight in such a short lap, but through the one of the more iconic sections of the circuit as well, up through the S. Through the final corner, a little bit of draft here to help Jack as well. Some good pace on this lap. We'll see what he can do. He will cross the line and 45.7 slot him in to about 7th position. Lap time didn't actually count though, so he'll have to go once again. See what Anderson can do is he's just come out of the final corner and there's chaos with Postlethwaite. A few others also getting involved in a bit of an incident there. We've got Pete Smith about to cross the line for his starter flying lap, but here's another one of the cool looking liveries out here. Danny Vassell in the MFR entry. So I don't mind these with the green and purple, almost the green slime look on the car. It's quite a cool look.
Yeah, I must admit, it actually is one of those more interesting liveries with the way that it looks. It's yeah, it's something you don't really see too often in the painting world.
See what Vassell can do here as he gets a little bit of help down the hill. Oh, way too deep. They're going to get compromised on the exit, have to go a bit shallow. Make sure you avoid contact and cross the line, and won't improve on his best lap. Current weather conditions out there on track, pretty ideal for qualifying. 25 degrees, wind, a little bit of wind, but it's not too strong, so it won't really affect the drivers. Good thing too about this track is the way the pit exit works. You actually come out with a little bit of speed and momentum up, so although you're sort of plonking yourself out onto the racing line, you've got speed up, so it's not as painful as we see at other layouts where you just magically appear in the middle of the apex or something like that. So it's quite a decent pit exit as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's one of the more safer options that we normally see, where instead of just coming straight out onto the racing line into what would normally be turn 1, but yeah, this time you sort of have to go a little bit further out than you normally would and end up actually taking almost a extra corner to the circuit. So it definitely makes it a bit of an interesting pit exit with that extra momentum that you end up carrying on the exit. But currently on screen, we've got Ethan Grigalt trying to set another time and possibly get to the top of the timesheets. He's not too far away from being at the top at the moment, only 0.06 of a second. As he comes across the line, it's going to be no improvement.
I think this might be start of his flying lap right now, so we'll jump on board. As you can see, the turn 1 entry, very off-putting because you're so used to using that pit wall as your braking marker for turn 1. Not use that and use a different section is really, really tough, and big slide coming down the hill up through one of the more entertaining parts of the circuit. He's going to get a bit of help with the draft here too from Adam Briggs up ahead. I believe that's Briggs. Actually, it's Daniel Misdale.
Actually.
Yep. See if he can improve on this lap. Ethan Grigalt about to cross the line. And no improvement, about 0.2 off what he needs to do. We've got 32 of our 35 drivers that have set a lap time. Surprisingly, Jack Boyd yet to set a flying lap. Actually set a legitimate time, so we'll see if he can improve. A little bit of draft help on the front straight and crosses the line, does a lap now, 46.1. Right into the pack in 13th position. Josh Anderson about to come out of the pits to start another lap. Glenn Postlethwaite also about to start another lap. Reese Keane as well. Chris Coxhead Pretty wild look there for Coxhead with the V8 Sleuth logos on the car. But bit of bizarre paintwork on it as well. It's not what I was expecting that car to look like when I saw the livery earlier in the day. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. There's neon style lines and sort of design on the car is very, very different, very creative and a bit odd to see for Coxhead. Obviously, normally running in the very bright blue Zebra racing cars with obviously V8 Sleuth and the likes of that on the car. But yeah, very, very creative livery, I should say.
Yeah, it looks quite cool as he's running very, very aggressive. Even the sign writing on the back saying Sleuth looks pretty cool as well. So we'll see what Coxhead can do on this lap. It comes up to complete his flying lap. And a little bit slow coming out of the exit of the final corner. May have got a little bit distracted by that car spinning. There was an MFR car spinning on the inside, but decides to pull it in the pits. Jack Boyd has just crossed the line and improved his last lap, 45.6 for him. One car left to put in a lap time out on the circuit. Rob Bowden, 0.5, a number we don't usually see in a lot of our broadcast races. A retired number for a lot of our broadcast events.
Yes, it is. It's don't really tend to see it too often, so it's very, very interesting to finally see it for once.
100%. So we'll see what he can do as he crosses the line. 47.0, about 27th position. Go and continue to look at some of these looks out on the track. Jonathan Band, of course, in the MFR car. They do look quite cool with the slime look on them. Scott Harvey in the JP Sim Shed livery. Another cool look. Very, very familiar look. A lot of their other cars that they run in all sorts of series here on iRacing. And again, thanks to JP and his hard work behind the scenes getting this event up and running. Nice look there for that car.
Yeah, the livery almost actually suits the Legends car with the way that they've actually done it up. It's almost a perfect fit, surprisingly enough.
Kind of Casey Atkinson looks quite cool as well. Similar in one aspect to the MFR cars, but also got that look that we saw pinstripe as well that we saw on Chris Coxhead's car. So looks pretty cool, Casey. So good job to you for your livery out there tonight. There's some cool looks out there. Always love seeing some really, really cool liveries and unique looks out on the track. See what he can do on this flying lap. Nothing worse when you come out of the final corner and you see a car facing the wrong direction just as you're trying to get your momentum up and put in a flying lap. Crosses the line for a 46.9, no improvement on his best lap. Currently the best lap, Brenton Hobson, 45.3. 45.3 as well for Greg Galt, 45.4 for Josh Anderson. Postlethwaite and Reece Keane, both 45.5s. 45.6 for Coxhead, Briggs and Boyd. Then 45.7 for Nick Cummings. Rest of the field in 46s or higher. Jack Boyd, though, been the big mover in this second phase of qualifying, up into 8th position. But I think we're going to see a few drivers come back in the pits and start working again as we look at the Velocity Motorsport magazine entries of Matt Morris and Ben Collard. A bit of a different look on those cars as well. A bit of a firework going off on the roof and spreading across the car.
Yeah, it actually is. It's very, very bright. You'd almost not quite know that it was a firework, but a little bit closer and it actually is. And then a very interesting other end of the car where it's pretty much a fully carbon fiber. Well, yeah, fully carbon fiber on the other end of the car. So very interesting livery that one is.
Very different look. Matt's best time puts him in 8th position at the moment. Best lap of a 46.2. It's really tight in that secondary part of the grid from 10th back to about 20th. 0.2 of a second. So there's not much in it. If any of these guys can find something they don't have to find much, and they'll get a decent jump in position. So Morris crosses the line for no improvement on his lap. But anyone from Daniel Stevens back to Matt Morris, even Danny Vassell as well. It's nothing separating these guys from basically 10th to 26th is half a second. That's very, very tight racing around a really, really tough circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things you notice about these Legends cars on road courses is that it's quite hard to actually extract pace. Probably one of the harder cars to extract pace from these cars because of just the way that they're so even and there's very minimal difference between them. So it's just really all about getting onto the power as early as you can and carrying that mid-corner speed. I know it was very, very competitive in the Aussie Racing Cars series that was run probably about 2 years ago now, I believe. And it was a very, very tight field. I mean, so far tonight, we've got the top 20 spread by what is pretty much just under a second. So there's nothing in it. And everybody's pushing extra, extra hard to try and gain positions. And like you said, that minimal time difference gain that you can make gains you so many positions over your competition.
Greg Galt on screen on a flying lap at the moment. Only has to find a very, very huge 600ths of a second. Sounds very, very easy to find 600ths around a short track like this, but it is near on impossible. It's the track temp, since we last discussed it, it was 25 degrees. Chris Coxhead just moves into 4th position. It's gone up to 31 degrees and still climbing, so incredibly warm conditions as Greg Gould into the wall. That will end that flying lap for him. Reece Keane about to come across the line and complete a lap. He's about to start a fly. We'll continue watching this one from Reece Keane.
Yeah, Keane currently sitting in P6 at the moment, so he's not too far off the guys at the front. Obviously, a bit more of a bigger difference between what Greg Galt has to Hobson, but yeah, it's so far looking like a fairly decent lap. No real oversteer. Moran says he gets really sideways, and that lap is going to be toast as he hits the wall.
How's that for commentator's curse? Hasn't had any oversteer moments. He bins at the exact second you said that. Still got it, mate. You still got it. Got Matt Hill on screen at the moment, currently in 34th.
Yeah, I'll definitely put my hand up and say sorry to Reece about that one. But yeah, Matt Hill at the moment on screen, looking like he's doing it fairly all right at the moment. Currently sitting a little bit down the order as he gets really sideways.
That's 2 from 2. No, he's going all right, and he goes straight off the circuit the exact second you said that. Daniel Winsdale next. See if we can ruin Daniel's lap.
Oh, nearly in a moment there. Got a little bit sideways on the exit as he comes up and over that rise down through the chicane towards the final corner. Coming up into the middle of the corner, trying to get on the power as soon as he can. Just managing to do it. And as he comes across the line, it's going to be 46-1, so no improvement.
Trying to find some more drivers on flying laps. One of those is Josh Anderson. Saw on the weekend, had a very mixed weekend in the Aussie racing cars at the Adelaide 500, but looking to get a little bit of redemption. Always love getting out on track in these cars and always see him up towards the pointy end regardless of what car he's driving in these races.
Yeah, for sure. And he actually recently did just qualify for the iRacing VRS GT World Championship Series with Venval Sim Racing. So really, really good job by him there to manage to qualify and get into his back stripe.
Crosses the line for no improvement. Very, very close to his best lap on that last one there, but does not improve. Who we can find on a flying lap next. Kyle Dawson is about to cross the line on a flying lap. Current best is a 46.0. Does not improve on that lap. Interesting that Casey Atkinson out there not doing qualifying runs at the moment. Currently on his 15th lap, I should say, in this stint. So he's just getting a feel for the tyres, getting a feel for the track, understanding how the car behaves. So great to see him out there. It's big moment for the 25 car. Might have to do a little bit of practice with a damaged car now as well, as that's Rob Carmichael running off the circuit. But a lot of drivers at the moment are on their out laps. Glenn Postlethwaite about to cross the line for his flying lap and does not improve. Nick Smith is about to cross the line and complete his flying lap. We'll see what he does. 46.1 the time to beat. No improvement. Shows how tough the track is at the moment.
Yeah, I think we're just starting to see a point as it gets very sideways with a bit of compression lock through turn 1. And I think what we're starting to see is just guys starting to push it just a little bit too hard and trying to get those extra thousandths of a second or hundredths or tenths, in fact. And it's just causing them to make mistakes just primarily on the basis of that. The cars being on that extra little bit of a ragged edge, as Cox said on screen at the moment, having a bit of a moment out of the final turn, and is on about to start his flying lap once again.
Yeah, now apologies. Oh! It's a big moment.
Again, that's 3.
Done well. You've done well tonight. Our apologies once again for the few issues that we are having with our stream tonight. It's YouTube having some heart attacks and moments tonight, so our apologies for the issues that we are having, but we will push on, and hopefully they will sort themselves out in the next little while. But nonetheless, the racing now only 10 minutes away from getting underway. We are not far off seeing how everyone goes in the racing tonight, and judging by qualifying, I think we're in for a pretty intense show. Because the big thing about tonight, as we said, it is heat racing format, as Josh Anderson has another spin while he's trying to improve his lap time. Postlethwaite, though, will go to him on a flying lap. Big thing is making sure you finish 70% of the race distance to ensure that you're in the running for the points at the end. Get yourself some cool prizes.
Yeah, for sure. It's probably going to be more about just trying to be consistent in scoring points at the end of the day. I think it's not really going to be much use pushing it too hard and trying to make up too many positions early on. Obviously, the higher up you go, the better the points will be at the end. But there's also that reverse sprint in the second race where the entire field is reversed based on the finishing positions of race 1. So you're almost possibly going to see guys just thinking about race 2 and trying to set themselves up in order to not end up right at the back, but also try and maximize points in race 1. It's going to be really, really interesting to see what the strategy is like.
Jack Boyd about to come across the line, and he's just hit the wall coming out of the final corner, so he will just decide to reverse it in a pit entry. That was pretty spectacular. Well done to you, Jack. Ethan Griggold about to come and complete a flying lap. Then we'll go to Brenton Hobson and see what he can do on his flyer. He is about to start. Big thanks to all of the supporters as well of this event. JP Simshed, Jinx Shifters, VR Cover, Worm Paints, Next TechU, and Velocity Motorsport Magazine, as well as Grig Galt crosses the line about 2/10 off his current best. We go to Brenton Hobson. Some really, really cool prizes up for grabs tonight, and as we said, both of us probably would prefer to be out there on track having a drive and trying to win some cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to win pretty much what would almost be a entire sequential shifter out of a V8 supercar, not quite, but a replica for sim racing is a very, very cool prize. I mean, the quality that the guys at Drink Shifters put out is amazing, and yeah, it's just awesome to see so many cool prizes being given out tonight.
Thank you to everyone who has donated prizes, money, anything to help Tristo out and help this event out. It's fantastic to see as Reece King crosses the line. No improvement. We'll go to Daniel Misdale on a flying lap as well. Field still very, very close. Top 9 is... oh, there's one for me, Misdale. I think it's 3-1 now, the score between us, Cam. You're definitely well and truly the favourite at the moment for ruining people's laps. We'll go to Jack Boyd, just behind Misdale there. He's still on a flying lap. Awesome to see as he's just ruined his lap as well. There we go, two in a row.
We're doing a very, very good job tonight at beating up to his curious car.
Got Harvey about to cross the line, but he is not going to improve. That very, very slow lap there for him. Hobson is doing a bit of a fuel run at the moment. We'll go back to Danny Vassell. Oh, just behind him, someone runs very, very well. We'll see if Vassell can improve. As more and more I see those MFR cars, the more I like them.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely starting to grow on me as they're very, very different and very interesting liveries. Oh, Vassell
whoa,
in the wall.
That's not the
Right
fast
up
way.
in the wall. Yeah, no, that's definitely not the fast way through the final corner, that's for sure.
Brent Hobson about to cross the line once more to do another lap, but Ethan Grigalt currently second. We've been saying for a long time, 600ths of a second. It shouldn't be that hard to get, but it looks nigh on impossible at the current rate. How much the track temperature has increased. It's now up to 32 degrees, so it's 7 degrees from when we started qualifying 25 minutes ago that this track has increased temperature.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of cars on track, so it's of no surprises that that change has happened, but it's really, really all about trying to get in as early as possible. I mean, we saw before this new day-night transition that RSN's brought in, that even in the likes of Scops, it was pretty much if you're first out in qualifying, you've got the best possible chance of being on pole. So, yeah, it's really, really interesting to see this sort of thing. And at the moment, we're seeing a number of drivers doing longer runs just to see what the car's going to be like over a race run and what they're going to have to possibly do with it being such a short layout. I mean, it's going to be totally different when off the first few laps when it's all bunched together. But yeah, it'll be really, really interesting to see what everybody's finding
Coxhead.
and what the... Oh, that was a big moment for Coxhead.
Yeah, 100%. I think the big thing as well is going to be overtaking may not be as easy as you would expect. These cars are actually very, very tough to break. Why we've seen so many mistakes from guys is right on cue. Josh Anderson gets a big sideways slide. I don't think that's commentator's curse. I think that was more proving my point. Postlethwaite starting a lap. It's going to be really tough to overtake out on this circuit. I mean, Oran Park always produces really close racing, but the track makes it really tough to pass because you've got so many left, rights. It's really, really tough to get over-unders or get runs on people, isn't it? It's a very, very fun circuit, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And with it being pretty much a fixed setup and the engines, well, the car's being pretty much so equal in low horsepower, it really does make it even more difficult to try and get passes done. And like we said, braking, very, very difficult with the gearbox that it's got. We pretty much do have to blip on the downshifts, and lift on the upshifts as well. So sort of like a shifter car, but yeah, it's really, really going to be interesting to see where drivers make moves and what can possibly come of this race.
Rob Carmichael's just about to start a flying lap. Most of the drivers at the front of the field have given up on qualifying at this point and are just doing a few laps to get a feel for the car. Hobson, Grigalt, Postlethwaite, Briggs, and Boyd all doing race simulation runs at the moment. So Rob Carmichael comes across the line to start his flying lap, best lap of a 47.2. See how close qualifying is. 30th position is less than 2 seconds off pole. That's really, really tight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, top 20 covered by just under a second. So it's going to be very, very, very competitive in the races. And we may very well see some possible accidents just because of the fact that that speed difference between everybody is so small.
Michael aborts his flying lap. He's going to have another crack at it as we go to Craig Ansbach, who is on a flying lap for Tank Sim Racing Team. See what he does. Big moment coming out of the final corner, and that will lose him probably 2 or 3 tenths of a second. Had to correct it and does a 47.2. Don't think he would have been quite close enough to get time in. And I've just noticed as well, we've got a change of position at the top of the timesheets. Josh Anderson's just pulled a lap out of nowhere and got himself into second by 4 thousandths of a second over Ethan Grigalt. I think Grigalt might have to come in the pits and have another run now.
Oh, Grigalt's actually just leaving pit lane now, so he's probably seen that position change and gone, right, there's not a lot of time left, but I'm going to give it a red hot go and hopefully try and gain back that position. And with that mere 4 thousandths of a second difference, it's going to be very, very difficult to try and gain.
Daniel Stevens through the final corner. What can he do on this flying lap? Will he improve? I think he's a little bit too far off the pace at the moment. And crosses the line, it does a 48. So a little bit off where we would expect him to be. We will go to Ethan Griggold about to start a flying lap, but before then, Chris Coxhead about to finish a flying lap. Have a look at the draft that he's got. He's got a lot of help ahead of him, but no improvement, about 7/10 off his best lap. Track might be pretty much gone. See what Griggold can do here.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time left in the session, about a minute now left remaining, so if drivers want to try and get a lap in, they have not got long to do it. It'll pretty much be whoever's out on track now will get one last shot at it. As Griggold coming over through the S's, over the rise, down the hill towards the final corner. It's looking like it's a fairly solid lap. Revving that car right out as much as you can without hitting the limiter. He's going to cross the line, and the time is going to be no improvement, barely slower.
Hobson's also was about to decide on having another crack, but he's brought it into the pits. Anderson about to finish another lap. Will he improve? Josh Anderson for Vendaval Sim Racing. No improvement. Have a look at how close that was. Oh, no, it was an improvement. My mistake. And he finds another 12 thousandths of a second. Basically nothing.
Yeah.
Clock hit 0. This is everyone's last run to get across the line. Go to Craig Newell, who is on a flying lap. JP Simshed entry.
Oh, that's wide.
Be able to get any improvement. Needs to get into the 46s. No improvement on that one from him. Anderson's gone for another lap, but I think he's going to bring it into the pits, and that means that we are done for our first qualifying, for the night, and the grid is up on screen and will be as follows. Hobson on pole position. As just noticed, the row numbers are all completely wrong. That's classic. Josh Anderson will start alongside Ethan Griggold in 3rd position, Chris Coxhead in 4th, Glenn Postlethwaite 5th, 6th goes to Reece Keane with Adam Briggs in 7th and Jack Boyd in 8th position. 9th goes to Nick Cummings. Daniel Stevens rounds out the top 10.
Daniel Misdale and Kyle Dawson will be in 11th and 12th. 13th to 14th, Jonathan Bean and Scott Harvey, followed by Scott Chambers and Tyler Bowen, Clint Shane Smith and Ben Collard in 17th and 18th, and rounding out the top 20 will be Matt Morris and Danny Vessel.
My timing screen's just refreshed everything. You might have to run through the rest for me, Cam.
So the rest of the field consists of Craig Inspatch, Rob Bowden, Justin Corteo, Grant Mediford, Casey Atkins, Stephen Greener, Derek Mobbs, Jared Steen, Craig Newell, Rob Carmichael, Jeremy Stokes, Brayley Wingard, Craig Gurrell, Matt Hill, and rounding out the field is Dave Clement.
Apologies for that weird error there. So start grid disappeared on me, but we are ready to get underway. 10 laps for race 1, 10 laps for race 2. We reverse grid. We will have a 15-lap final, but we'll change the circuit and go the full layout for the last race and add a pit stop. So we're going to have a real cool format by the end of the night. The run to turn 1 fairly short in comparison to what we're used to here at Oran Park. We wait for the last couple of drivers to jump on to the grid. Remember, you can donate to help out JP. To help out Tristo at JP Simshed. PayPal.me/JP Simshed. Big thank you as well to JP for massive support behind the scenes in helping get this event up and running and on screen for everyone tonight. Ready, revs are starting to rise. We haven't got many left to jump on the grid. Brent Hobson starts this race from pole position. Josh Anderson alongside with Ethan Griggold right beside as well. About 5 seconds left before we will get the green flag signal, and we will get this race underway. Go 10 laps ahead for all of these drivers here at Oran Park for the Tristo's Grand Annual Race for Life. We are underway. Green flag flies, and a really good jump there from Ethan Griggault in 3rd position. He's going to try and get a move done on Josh Anderson, and Anderson also getting a really good jump as well. Almost side by side, almost 3 wide into turn 1, but it looks like we're going to get through turn 1 at the front of the field nice and clean.
Yeah, pretty much clean for the most part through the front of the field. A couple of cars off, going 3 wide, and a bit of contact.
Oh, right on
there.
cue.
Over and over, straight out and into what is effectively the paddock. Another car off. I think that was one of the MFR cars. Danny Vassell.
Oh, another big wreck.
Off, and more off as well. So, bit of carnage further back. Oh, a huge crash further back with about 4 cars involved. That is Casey Aitkins, Daniel Stevens, Tyler Bowen, and I believe Scott Chambers. So plenty going on further back in the field with more cars off as well. But at the moment, it is looking like that lead is well and truly had by Brendan Hopso, followed shortly behind by Joshua Anderson and Ethan Griggault.
We will get a replay of that after the race because this is a very, very short lap. As you just see a change of position, Chris Cox said, let's Glenn Postlethwaite through. Guys that have had a bad result here, they are still in the running. There is a spare car available, so they can get themselves back out on the circuit. Need to stay on the lead lap. They can do that. They might find themselves with a good starting position for race 2, but here comes Josh Anderson looking to take advantage here on Brenton Hobson. Will he be able to get the move done? Going to be tight here.
Didn't quite get the exit there, but it's very, very close. He goes for a bit of a weave to the inside, trying to break the draft of Ethan Griggault, but he's going to get
made a mistake.
Very close under brakes and trying to get on by, but he's just not quite got the run.
Yeah, and Hobson made a little mistake into turn 1 there. Not quite close enough. Here's Anderson to pounce at this stage as we are already a 5th of the way through the race. We also have live timing available on our website at simspeed.tv/live timing as Jack Boyd through on Reese Keane. And that is a big pack of cars behind Boyd. You've got Keane, Briggs and Cummings all there together. Nick Cummings looks like he might be able to get a move done. But Hobson is under pressure here from Josh Anderson, who's got a great run out of the final corner.
Yeah, Hobbo ran a little bit wide on the exit there. That's cost him a bit of exit speed. Anderson going to look up the inside. Going to try and break as late as he is. Not quite going to get up the inside enough though.
Oh, bump!
Nearly a little bit of contact between the two. Anderson really pushing hard to try and get this lead of this race.
Great fight between 2 veterans in our field. Been in this game for a long time. Been racing in our broadcast events for a long, long time. As Bradley Wingard also gets himself into issues. There's a big bounce off the curb for Josh Anderson. Just holds on. And Ethan Griggault might be able to pounce here. Wow, what a move.
Yeah, very, very good save by Anderson there. Now Griggault's come into this. Anderson's going to go defensive, very defensive. He's trying to hold on. Griggault's going to have to go to the outside though. And is he going to get it quite? Anderson with a bit of a checking him up, but he's managed to keep that gap to Hobson fairly close. So they haven't lost too much time at this point.
Seen Jeremy Stokes slow out of the final corner. He's got a little bit of damage on his car. Matt Morris and Clint Smith also getting very, very tight as here comes Kyle Dawson up the inside of Reese Keane. And there's a car around there as well. The 38 car, that is of Matt Hill. Also just seen Jared Steen get passed by Craig Newell as well. We go back to the front of the field though because Hobson, Anderson and Griggault. So we hit the halfway point of race 1 for the night. Race 1 of 3. And Ethan Griggault with a great run out of the final corner. He's going to blast by. No, not quite able to. Tough to pass.
Yeah, he's trying everything he can to try and get by. And Anderson's trying everything he can to try and keep up and get by Hobson. So it's a very, very, very scrappy battle at the moment for this top 3 at the moment. I don't think we're going to be able to even guess who's going to be able to win this at this stage because it's just that close.
Postlethwaite's a chance of winning this because these 3 could come together at the end of this race. To just see Kyle Dawson dropping off the timing sheet. Contact between Griggault and Anderson. Got told before the race that a little bit of rubbing is going to be condoned tonight. So I think that will be play on at the front of the field. Griggault now into 2nd position, but what that's done, it's meant that Hobson has got a decent lead up now and might nearly be able to break away as Clint Smith, Matt Morris coming in issues, and Matt Morris has a fair bit of damage on the front of his car. Have a look at the front right of that. Does not look too healthy. Front left, I should say. Have a look at the pack here. All sorts of cars going into turn one. We've got Bowden, Dawson, Ansbach, Collard, Cottrell, all involved in this battle right now.
It's about a 7-car train.
Oh, here we go. It's on between Anderson and Griggold.
nuts.
Griggold's redressed the position and giving it back to Anderson, and Postlethwaite's in this.
Yeah,
Where to
Postlethwaite
watch?
is right there. Yeah, there's just so much going on. We don't know where to look. It's absolutely crazy. But Ethan Griggold on the outside, Anderson up the inside. Is he just going to get it done? Not quite. But now Postlethwaite's going to have a look up the inside of Griggold. Not quite going to get the run, although he's going to try and look at every which way that he can.
Anderson now gets himself into second position. Now, we also just see Rob Bowden get past Craig Ansbach. So that's for 12th position. Ben Collard, Justin Cottrell still in that as well. And a lap down car, 73 of Daniel Misdale also getting in on that battle. But we get 2 to go when we cross the line. And Brenton Hobson now has a 1.2 second lead. Glenn Postlethwaite, what a run he's got out of the final corner. Will he be able to get up the inside over Ethan Griggold? Big late dive!
That was very, very skittish. You saw the car just...
Oh!
That is off! Contact between Griggold and Postlethwaite has caused Postlethwaite to end up straight off the track. He's dropped a handful of positions. He's now effectively 8th, so really, really unfortunate for Posy there. He's doing so well.
Justin Cottrell was about to get a move done. Had Grant Matterford just behind him. He was trying to get up the inside of Ben Collard and then just ran off the circuit. Unfortunate for him. Nick Cummings and Adam Briggs also going at it. White flag in the air already. Brenton Hobson, a 1 second lead. Will he be able to hold on? Craig Newell off the circuit. And Jared Steen, I think those two have come together. We'll get a Modem Simulations replay up on screen in a little bit. But Anderson is slowly closing the gap, but I don't think there's enough time left. He's got it under a second already.
Yeah, don't quite think Anderson's got the pace advantage over Hobson. He was about 3/10 a second quicker than Hobson that last lap, but it's not quite enough as Hobson rounds the final corner just behind the end of what is the field. As he crosses the line, Hobson will take the win from Josh Anderson, followed by Ethan Griggold and Chris Coxhead, not too far behind Griggold. 5th will go to Jack Boyd, 6th Nick Cummings with Adam Briggs not too far behind. Posy in 8th as it's on for
Matt
the final
Morris is
top
around.
10.
No, holds on. Reese Keane. Clint Smith drag race to the line. Smith will hold on over Reese Keane. And we've also got Bowden versus Ansbach, almost butt drafting across the line. Bowden holds on in the 0-5 car. Still battles going on between Rob Carmichael, Scott Harvey, Daniel Stevens. That one is done. But we also saw that there was a bit of battling going on for the last position. Scott Chambers will be the last car across the line on the lead lap. So, or will he? Oh no, Matt Hill is a lap down. So he will be. And have a look at that front of that car. Does not look too healthy, does it? But Brenton Hobson does win race number 1. Race 1 of 3. So make sure you do stick around. We will have more racing to go. We will get our race results up on screen. Then we will go back and have a look at first lap once again, because there was a fair bit of chaos and mayhem that we did miss. Brenton Hobson, 0.8 of a second in the end over Josh Anderson, with Ethan Griggold, Chris Coxhead, Jack Boyd, Nick Cummings, Adam Briggs and Glenn Postlethwaite. The top 10 rounded out by Clint Smith and Reese Keane.
Matt Morris not too far behind in 11th, followed by Rob Bowden, who started in 22nd and actually got 12th, so a really good drive from him there. 13th goes to Craig and Snap and Ben Collard in 14th. 15th, Grant Medford, and 15th to Justin Cotterill. 17th, Stephen Grimer, followed by Jared Steen, and rounding out the top 20 is Rob Carmichael and Scott Harvey.
Yeah, Daniel Stevens, Derek Mobbs, Craig Newell and Casey Atkinson round at the top 24, with Jeremy Stokes, Bradley Wingard, Jonathan Ben and Scott Chambers, the last drivers on the lead lap. Tyler Bowen, Daniel Misdale, Danny Vassell and Matt Hill all 1 lap down, along with Craig Gurry 2 laps down, Kyle Dawson 3 laps down, and the rest of the drivers, the names on screen, all in as race admins. we will go back and have another look at the start of that race, because it was a fairly crazy start. We sort of figured it would be crazy at the start of the race, but I don't think we were predicting how crazy it was going to be. As the modem simulation replay up on screen now, focused at the moment on Stephen Grimmer, so we're not sure exactly who we need to focus on. We'll pick up here as we look in the mid-pack. As you just see one of the MFR cars running off at the start of the race. Daniel Misdale was involved in one of the early incidents, and there's his incident there with the 14 car Jonathan Ben. Try and pick up where this secondary incident was. There it is there, so we will get another look at that. Scott Chambers was one of the cars involved there, and just side-by-side contact between he and Daniel Stevens. Yeah.
And then that just set off a chain reaction where Casey Atkinson pretty much made contact with Scott Chambers and Daniel Stevens, and then Tyler Bowen with nowhere to go just ended up as an innocent bystander and all that. So absolutely chaotic race one, but it's going to be probably even more chaotic with a reverse grid for race 2, that's for sure.
We're going to take a very, very quick break while we get set up, and we'll come back with a very special guest in the booth and we get ready for race number 2. This is Tristo's Grand Annual Race for Life here on SimSpeed. Big thanks to all of the supporters of this series, this event. Behind the scenes, JP's Sim Shed, Jinx Shifters, Velocity Motorsport Magazine, VR Covers, Worm Paints, and also Next TQ. We will be back in a couple of minutes when we get ready for race number 2. Stick with us here on SimSpeed.
fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got tracks and he's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?
Welcome back to SimSpeed TV for Tristo's Grand Annual Race for Life. My name is Jay Kennedy. Alongside me in the booth, Cameron Dance. Cam, we had an awesome race one. But before we get into race two, we've got a special guest joining us. Big hello to Tristo and welcome to the SimSpeed booth. Firstly, Tristo, how is the health going at the moment?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, good to be on board here. Look, it's a battle every day, mate. But you do what you do, you know. It's look, honestly, my legs, you know, they're not far off not working anymore, and my hands and arms. But hey, I still get out there. I still race. You know, I think I do quite well.
I agree. Actually, we're out there in the safety car giving drivers a little bit of a serve up in practice, and I just said while we're off on our break there that you should get out there in the middle of the race and just stir things up by weaving in between a few, but you didn't seem to agree. But that would have been entertaining. I think maybe we should get the YouTube chat to pick a driver that you need to take out in the middle of the race or something.
As entertaining as that would be, I don't know if it would go down that well.
You're right. It might maybe a different event we can do that. But obviously tonight, very, very special night for you. Of course, we did one for you last year as well. But to have these events and have the support is pretty overwhelming, isn't it?
Oh, look, it definitely is. And to be honest, I couldn't stay as strong as I do without it. Just to know I have the support of the community, it keeps me going. It really does.
You've been a very big friend of us here at SimSpeed for quite a long time. Talk us through when you started sim racing and what motivated you to start out having a bit of a trundle out on track yourself.
Well, I'm one of those older guys who, you know, the Atari was basically the first console that was ever put in front of me.
Nothing wrong with that, mate. I'm one of the older guys too.
Yeah, well, definitely nothing wrong with it. But I've seen everything come before me. Yeah, V8 supercar driver, race driver, all those classics. Officially with iRacing, I only got into it probably close to 3 years ago, and unfortunately that was due to internet connection. Nothing to do about that. But look, it's more than just getting on and racing. It's a community, you know, and it's an amazing one too.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great community, and to the likes of things like this, events like this, and we also seen other charity events and events that we've put on are always really, really great for all different members of our community, and shows how strong a group we are. And as much as we argue and fight and things on the track and sometimes off the track, at the end of the day, we're all here for the same cause, and we all are here because we're all good mates. So it's great to have you on board. You want to stick around for a little bit of this race, Tristo?
Well, I'm actually in the pace car, so I'll pop in after the next race.
Sounds very good. Well, thank you very much for jumping in. We appreciate it, and it's great to have you on board, and looking forward to catching up with you in a couple of months' time when you come up to my hometown for a visit. So should be good fun when you do come up, and great to see you in the booth with us tonight for a little bit and having a chat.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
And we wait for race number 2. We're not too far away, but that was a pretty heated race one. Not really surprised in one aspect, but I think we're going to see one heck of a show here for race 2, as reverse grid is going to be pretty action-packed.
Yeah, absolutely. Reverse grids always turn the racing on. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how the quicker guys manage the traffic and get through the field. So will definitely be an interesting race to watch, and hopefully we don't have too much carnage compared to race 1.
Remember to donate as well while we're here, paypal.me/JPSimshed. I think is in the YouTube chat right now, so you can donate. We appreciate any donations, whether it's $1 or $1 million, whatever you want to donate. It all goes directly to Tristo to help him out, help his family through this tough time. Just a few delays with the setting up of the next session. Of course, iRacing is releasing a patch tonight. Actually, not a patch, a decent build, which saw in the ad break there. A few new toys coming out for us to play with in the next couple of days. Of course, the big one being the new BMW. We're looking forward to that. The big boy coming here for us, which we will see featured in a few of our broadcast series in the coming weeks and months as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of content in this new build, especially the likes of the BMW M8 GTE, the big boy. You've also got a couple of other things, such as the new V7 tyre model on the Skip Barber. You've got a complete version of the Charlotte Motor Speedway, including the Roval. Some extra detailing things, such as HDR. There's a Nürburgring night mode preview. So yeah, it's a very, very big build, very exciting, and it's going to be really, really interesting to test it out and give the big boy a bit of a fang. No, I won't probably be waking up straight after the build is released and we can get back on the service. But yeah, it'll be really, really good to give all the new content a good whiz and check it all out in the end.
Yeah, it should be really, really cool build coming up in the next 5 hours or so to go till we've got the new build up. So looking forward to seeing that come out in the next few hours or so. Also, as well, another thing that rumored is not too far away as well. AI, we've seen in that video as well. Very, very cool. We saw the first version of AI at the Sim Racing Expo at the Nürburgring September last year. It was a very, very cool release, and a lot of people unsure about it, but I, for one, I think it's going to be really cool because someone that doesn't get to race too often, having AI there as an option is always a good thing, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously, not many of us have tried the AI. I know Fonte was one of them that got to luckily try it and give it a go at the Sim Racing Expo last year. So, yeah, I reckon it'll be really, really good to have. Again, some people might think it's not that great, but at the same time, I mean, if you're not able to race that often, or you maybe just want to have a bit of a skid now and then, possibly test out the damage model with some AI and not risk your safety rating or anything like that, it'll be a good fun, I reckon.
We're not too far off getting the race session up on screen. We're just getting some vision through in just a couple of moments. And another thing as well, our Thursday night broadcast series, you can vote on what you would love us to show on a Thursday night. I do know that the voting is very, very close between 3 of our 8 options. Head to our Facebook page, facebook.com/SimSpeedTV, and you can vote on what we will cover along with OSR on a Thursday night next season. Of course, we had the Formula 3 Championship last season, which Cam, you did very, very well. Almost picked up the championship, just lost out to Adam Briggs in the end, but some pretty cool options, and I know the one that you're voting for, but there's some really, really cool options out there, and I don't think it matters which one we get. We're going to see some real cool racing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some really, really cool choices to make in that poll that we've got. Some pretty cool series. I know that a lot of people have been hoping to revive the likes of the GT1 cars, or possibly have an IndyCar series, or do another season of the Formula 3 cars. Yeah, there's a lot of choice, and it's actually quite hard to make a solid decision. But whatever wins, it's going to be some really, really good racing in the end, I reckon.
Put the numbers in our private group chat, and I said I don't think anyone would be able to pick the order of the cars or what series is even leading, because it is going to be so close. The votes were really, really close when we checked them last night. So if you want to have your say on what we do cover and what you want to race on a Thursday night here on SimSpeed TV next season, which starts next week, make sure you do head over to our Facebook page and have a look, as we're just about to get some footage through from on track as the drivers are in the warm-up phase for race number 2. And race 2 will be a really cool race, as we said, reverse grid. So that will make things really, really interesting. Drivers are just starting to get their laps in. The weather conditions are very, very identical, actually almost the same as what we had for the first race. So we're not going to see too many changes in that aspect. So we're going to see all the drivers still putting around about the same sort of pace. The conditions look to be pretty identical, so I think we're going to see a pretty tight race. And I think between those 4 or 5 that we saw at the front of the field, watching them come through the field in only 10 laps is going to be a real show. There could be some chaos though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's every chance that we could see possibly Hobson or Anderson or one of those guys that was up the front possibly get caught up in traffic, unfortunately, and have a lot of points lost and have to possibly use their spare cars. So it'll be really, really interesting to see who's actually going to be the best at managing traffic and who's going to end up coming out on top. We may actually see a surprise winner, but yeah, 10 laps, reverse grid, anything can happen.
Tristo on screen driving in the 000 pace car. Did put in the fastest time in the first practice session. I mean, probably no doubt that would be correct, but great to see him out on track having a bit of a blast, having a bit of fun despite all of the issues he's going through at the moment. It's always great to see. Love hearing stories of, not necessarily love the stories about guys that are going through a rough trot, but to see them having fun out on track is always a good thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to see those that have had unfortunate circumstances happen in their life and are either missing a limb or some way disabled in some way or another. So, and on track, so really, really good. I do know there's actually a league out there primarily for disabled people, and it's actually really good watch sometimes.
Yeah, the broadcast stuff of that, the Simmobility League is always really cool, and great to hear the stories of the guys that absolutely smashed me for pace despite being disabled. We've seen guys that be really, really good racing with controllers because they have no use of their feet or arms or things like that. And of course, one that we know the most is Reece Gardner. Of course, a very, very important part here of us here at SimSpeed. Of course, only has one arm that he can use, and he absolutely smashes me out on the track, and it makes me cringe and cry every time he absolutely beats me, knowing how amazing he is with being able to do it one-handed. But great to see that Tristo's out there having a ball. Maybe he might even punt, do it.
Go on, Tristo, go for it.
Come on, mate, do it. No, he's not going to. He's just going to throw it up the inside, up and down the front straight, I think. But we're 3 minutes away from getting race 2 underway. As we said, reverse grid. Top 4, all pretty much the same contenders we had from race 1 at the moment in the warm-up session. A couple of drivers that haven't quite put in fast lap times yet. A couple of drivers that are still just getting into the session. 10 laps once again, and then we will have a 15-lap main coming up based on the points of the first and second races. I think the big curveball is going to be chucking it on the full circuit. There's going to be guys out there that would never have driven the full circuit in these cars, ever.
Yeah, for sure. It's very interesting track on the full circuit in these cars. You have to definitely push them a little bit harder and really utilise the ability to extract the pace. So I think we'll see those that are able to put in, well, extract pace from cars in and their ability to adapt quickly, probably do the best. I mean, we'll probably see the likes of Ethan Greg Gold, Glenn Postlethwaite, and those sort of drivers possibly excel. But yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what sort of result race 3 brings and who's possibly even going to take out this thing.
Final 2 minutes of this warm-up session. Of course, as we said, we still have to vote on who we think is the best looking livery out there. And of course, if you are watching the broadcast as well, you can have your say. We'll be more than happy to take everyone's votes and choices into consideration for tonight's event. As just noticing as well, a few drivers still trying to get in and out onto the circuit. But I do like the SSR car. I do really like the JP SimShed cars, and I really, really am growing fond of the MFR cars. That purple and green I used to get bagged out when I ran a purple and green car back in the day, Cam. I quite like the purple and green as a combination. It looks a lot better than you think when you say I'm driving a purple and green car.
Yeah, it actually definitely does, especially when it's a creative livery like the MFR cars are running. It's one of those weird color combos that you get that when you see it on paper, you go, that's a bit different. But when you actually see it, it's like, oh, that's actually quite good.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, orange and blue or red and green, for example.
Yeah.
It's really, really weird, but it actually works quite well.
Yeah, red and green should never be seen, but they work well together. Of course, people out there that are Rabbitoh supporters will probably be saying hell yes. But yeah, I ran a purple and green Torque Inc livery in the similar style to the blue and dark blue livery that we had a couple of years ago, and I absolutely loved it. Everyone else in the team hated it, but I thought it looked spectacular, and other people thought it looked spectacular, but I used to get harassed and bagged out for running purple and green. So to my teammates at Torque Inc, there's the proof that purple and green is a cool combination as we get ready to get underway for race number 2. And just heard as well that the drivers don't actually know that this is a reverse grid race, so they're going to get this thrown on them right now. So the starting grid will be as follows. No, I'm not going to be able to put the starting grid up on screen, it doesn't look like. Maybe you might have to run through the grid for me, Cam.
Alrighty, starting on the front row will be Kyle Dawson, followed by Craig Gurry, Matt Hill and Danny Vassell, 3rd and 4th. 5th and 6th, Daniel Misdale and Tyler Bowen, Scott Chambers and Jonathan Ben just behind them. Rounding out the top 10, Bradley Wingard and Jeremy Stokes. Casey Atkinson and Craig Neal just behind them. Derek Mobbs and Daniel Stevens in 13th and 14th. 15th and 16th, Scott Harvey and Rob Carmichael. Jared Steen and Stephen Grimer in 17th and 18th. And rounding out the top 20 is Justin Cortiel and Grant Madford, as we are not too far away from the race starting.
We'll run through the rest of the names on screen. We've got 34 cars out on the circuit for this race. And we are just about to get underway. Brenton Hobson starting right at the back of the field. And Kyle Dawson on the front row. 10 laps for race number 2. And we are underway. And a really good jump at the front of the field there from the 25 of Matt Hill. He's going to try and go around the outside on Craig Guthrie. But have a look at Daniel Misdale. Oh, big contact. Daniel Misdale around. And there's another car off as well. Derek Mobbs is running off the circuit. Bradley Wingard also off the circuit.
Half the field.
Hobson, Anderson, Griggold, Coxhead and Boyd have all made it through that wreck. We'll stay live, and again we'll get the replay of what has happened at the start of the race, post-race. But at the front of the field, Kyle Dawson has broken away from these guys. Postlethwaite's been the big mover as he's actually slow on the inside. Has he got a slowdown penalty? It was huge damage to the side of his car. I believe we're under safety car conditions. We are.
I believe we are under safety car, so everybody trying to sort themselves out and try and figure out what is going on and sort themselves in the positions, as safety car shouldn't be too long, but it'll just make that challenge of getting through the field that much harder.
Adam Briggs in the pits from an incident at the start of the race. Daniel Misdale, Daniel Stevens, Rob Bowden all in the pits as well. We will get a Modem Simulations replay of the start and try and pick up exactly how that all played out. There's a car that just went straight through the middle of turn 1. Watching the 16 car of Rob Bowden, he actually got flipped upside down. Also the 21 car also ended up on its roof. Daniel Stevens as well ended up in the fence as well. So let's see if we can pick up Stevens here. There's contact between he and the 30 car, and then he just got run over by the 030. No harm in that, just unfortunate incidents. We come back live because we're about to go back under green flag. We will get another look at that post-race. To see Porsche safety car out on the circuit at the moment, as Rob Bowden's about to get back out on the track, so he's come in, jumped into his spare car and got going again. Daniel Misdale as well. Daniel Stevens not too far off getting back out on the circuit as well. They'll all stay on the lead lap. I'm just seeing Nick Cummings getting shuffled up the field ahead of Clint Smith. That was a messy start there.
It definitely was. It was very, very busy and action-packed, that's for sure. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what happens off this restart and who's going to take advantage of it, really, because the likes of Hobson and Anderson and that, they're so far pretty much up to just inside the top 20. So doing a pretty good job of recovering from the back of the field. But the person that's probably going to be able to take the win, should he have enough pace, is probably going to be Ethan Grigol. Anderson and Hobson have obviously got Coxhead just ahead of him, so it'll be very interesting and probably going to be a four-way battle between those four.
Yeah, 100%. You will see those guys move forward. We did see... just looking... Glenn Postlethwaite's been shuffled back down the field, so... I'm guessing he may have cut the corner. We did see him slow down in a bizarre way, so I'm guessing he may have cut the corner. And that was why we saw him slowing down, so he's dropped back to 22nd position. We've also seen all of those guys that did get involved in that start incident back out on the circuit, but Postlethwaite might struggle a bit with the damage he's got on his car. Hopefully it's not too bad as we get ready to go green. Kyle Dawson leads the field away down the front straight as we start lap number 4. Good jump, he's got 2, and have a look at Danny Vassell up the inside. Going to get the move done. Also in there, Tyler Bowen, Scott Chambers also up the inside, move done. Heaps of moves going on back in the field. Ethan Griggold at the inside. Josh Anderson. Chris Coxhead also trying to make moves. Coxhead, big bump from... Is that Brenton Hobson who's bumped Chris Coxhead there? Go back to the front because Tyler Bowen's under pressure in 3rd position.
Yeah, Bowen coming under a lot of pressure at the moment from, I believe that is one of the cars. I think that's... Casey Atkinson, I believe, as he's trying to up
this
the
is 3 wide.
Nearly made it. Is it 3 wide in the background? Pretty much still 3 wide, as a matter of fact. Cummings, Chambers, and Bean all scrapping out for that final top 10 position. It's a couple of cars still scrapping.
Oh, Nick Cummings, big bump! Made contact with Casey Atkins. Coming through, have a look at the car of Ethan Griggold just scooting through, then 3 wide through the middle. Josh Anderson, how did you make that work?
Great driving by Anderson, managing to actually make it through that without contact and even be 3 wide at one point. That was absolutely unbelievable, but Ethan Griggold is going to force the issue. Go 3 wide into
4 wide.
the corner, just squeezes.
Nearly 4 wide there, Ethan Griggold. How did you make that work? As he's now into 5th position. Jonathan Ben just behind in 6th. Josh Anderson, Matt Hill, Clint Smith, Brenton Hobson here. This is just a swarm of cars as we're into the second half of this race.
Oh, and Anderson!
Oh no! Big moment. Hobson off the circuit. Nick Cummings is the one that's on a charge at the moment. He's just got clear of Craig Guthrie. He's got 4 seconds to find to get to the lead of the race. Ethan Griggold has 5 seconds to find. Last lap by, though, he was not quicker than our leader, Kyle Dawson, who's being pressured from behind by Danny Vassell. Go back to the front of the field because Vassell is closing that gap down. Ethan Griggold into 4th now, ahead of Craig Guthrie. And Jonathan Ben also getting through. Chris Coxhead and Glenn Postlethwaite coming. Wow. Hold your breath because it is on Nick Cummings. We need to watch this car right here. The 51 is on a charge as Clint Smith into the pits. Josh Anderson as well, still trying to make moves. After that contact, Rob Carmichael into the pit wall, just avoids contact.
I'm not exactly sure what happened to Carmichael there. He just suddenly went right and nearly put it in the wall there. That was very odd.
Broke a bit too hard there. All sorts of drama going on in the field. Go back to the front though because the gap between Vassell and Dawson is closed. It is now down under half a second.
Yeah, Vassell's right there. He's
in the draft
not
now.
Quite close enough. He's got that draft, but it's probably not quite going to be enough. Seems to have a little bit of a pace advantage. 2/10 quicker that last time by. As Cummings has a bit of a moment into turn 1. That's going to allow Griggold now to catch up onto the back.
Yep, the gap between these two and the leaders now 3 seconds, so they are definitely closing enough. Last lap by was the fastest lap of the race done by Ethan Griggold, 45.5. So Ethan Griggold is the fastest car on track, but is he going to be able to close up enough? Josh Anderson, Glenn Postlethwaite, side by side through the S. No way! Postlethwaite on the outside gets through. Reese Keane also getting involved as Ethan Grigalt gets clear of Nick Cummings. No, they're side by side down the front straight. Anderson and Keane still side by side. What a group of fights we've got here as the car massively sideways. But Grigalt through on Nick Cummings. 2 laps to go. He's got 3.5 seconds to find. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it, but Danny Vassell is a definite chance of getting the win here.
Yeah, Vassell still hunting down Kyle Dawson at the moment. A little bit slower that last time by, but he's definitely got some solid pace. He should be able to get the job done on this last lap as they come to the line. But Grigalt is still trying to hunt down Matt Morris. I don't know if he'll do it.
Vassell off the
big
circuit.
Moment.
So will Kyle Dawson be able to hold on? Started in pole. Just scooted away as there's big plumes of smoke ahead. Need to watch out for this as they come up to the end of this race. Kyle Dawson has done everything right in this race so far, as we've just seen Jack Boyd up the inside of Casey Anderson. And that's moved done. Brenton Hobson also looking to come through. Those guys have had a bit of an unfortunate race. Josh Anderson still looking to make moves on Glenn Postlethwaite, but Kyle Dawson is breaking away. And it looks like he might be able to do enough as there's a car very slow with smoke billowing out on the circuit. Kyle Dawson through the final quarter in the JP Simshed entry. And he's going to pick up the win in race number 2. Danny Vassell across the line in second. Ethan Grigalt in third. Nick Cummings fourth. Jonathan Ben will pick up fifth, but it's on between Hobson and Atkinson. And it looks like Hobson will get through. Still some battles. Oh, Scott Chambers in the wall at the final quarter. He's going to lose out big time.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there. It looked like it might have been a little bit of contact. Actually, no. They don't know. He actually got a little bit sideways and then overcorrected. So,
drag race.
Really, really unfortunate for Chambers as a drag race to the line.
Carmichael.
That's going to go to Carmichael just
12 thousandths of a second. What a race. We will get our race results, and then once again we will go back and have another look at the start of that race. But Kyle Dawson picks up the win in the end from Danny Vassell. Ethan Grigalt in third. Nick Cummins in fourth. Jonathan Ben, good job from him, in fifth. Chris Coxhead in sixth. Glenn Postlethwaite in seventh. Josh Anderson in eighth position. Then Reese Keane and Jack Boyd round out the top 10.
In 11th, just outside of the top 10, is Brenton Hobson, followed by Casey Atkinson, Adam Briggs, and Justin Cotterill in 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th, Craig Anspatch and Grant Matterford, Jared Steen, Scott Chambers, Bradley Wingard, and Rob Carmichael rounding out the top 20.
21st position, Ben Collard with Craig Guttery in 22nd, Stephen Grimer and Scott Harvey the next 2 positions. And we go into our unfortunate drivers from that race. Daniel Misdale and Clint Smith both had to pit, as well as Matt Morris. 1 lap down, Rob Bowden, Tyler Bowen, Derek Mobbs, Daniel Stevens and Jeremy Stokes all made it home, but a little bit further back. And then Matt Hill and Craig Newell a little bit further back down the field. We will go to a Podium Simulations replay in just a moment and rewatch the start of that race, because that was just crazy what happened at the start of that one there. See if we can get it up on screen here. We're about to get a replay of the actual start. A great jump at the start there. See there from the car of Kyle Dawson, but we'll go back in the field a little bit if we can pick up how this all played up. This is the mid-pack, and you can see on screen there 030 of Jeremy Stokes. We'll see if he was involved. You can see that the 73 car of Daniel Misdale around, and then there was a contact between Daniel Stevens and Jeremy Stokes, and then there was also the 21 car upside down as well. So we'll get another look and try and pick up what happened to Ben Collard. You can see him there in the 21, running a little bit wide, and then the 17, 37, actually his teammate, the sister car, 37, and Matt Morris making contact. That was pretty heavy contact and just flipped him over.
Yeah, it was not the best thing to take his teammate out there, unfortunately, but yeah, really, really solid contact to just end up flipping him over. It was really, really just had nowhere to go, unfortunately, and probably didn't even know his teammate was there, actually.
Yeah. Very unfortunate. All right, so that's how that all played out at the end of that race, or the start of that race. Remember, make sure to donate. PayPal.me/, if I could actually speak English. JP's Sim Shed. Jeez, I'm doing well tonight. Butchering the English language. I think that means that we need to have our final break of the night. And as we said earlier, new build coming out in iRacing overnight tonight. One of the most hotly anticipated releases in a long, long time. New car coming as well. BMW M8 GTE. The big boy coming tomorrow to iRacing.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
Gonna pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's gonna get them all done with. What amazing!
Lee to the inside goes Logan Clapman is gonna touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save!
Look to the outside as Tronke goes off. De Jong into second place.
Going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
I tried, there's contact though.
Slide left of the racetrack. Chris Benner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact. He's going to try and make the move around the upset the Parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the Coupe back here. Get the run out the Parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schubert, there's a little bit of door banging as well. This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God. Oh. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Welcome back to SimSpeed TV here for Tristo's Grand Annual Race for Life, presented by JP SimShed, Jinx Shifters, Velocity Motorsport Magazine, Next Tech Q, VR Cover, and Worm Pates. Big thanks to all of the supporters and sponsors behind the scenes for this fantastic event. My name is Jay Kennedy. Alongside me in the booth, Cameron Dance. Cam, it's been an awesome night of racing so far. Race 1 was pretty hectic. Race 2 just went off its head.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was that reverse grid definitely made the racing very, very interesting. Obviously, the quicker guys having to come from the back of the field, but Cole Dawson managed to do a fairly solid job of holding on to that pole position from lights to flag and taking the win in the end over Danny Vassell. But Ethan Grigott, what a drive to come from all the way in the back of the pack to gain 29 spots in the end and finish third. So it's pretty obvious who's leading the points at this stage, but it's still going to be all on in this last race, with it being the grid set by the combined points from race 1 and 2.
Just about to start announcing a couple of the prizes, but now I just sent you a message in regards to the paint prize. Tristo's joined us back in the booth again. Tristo, firstly, congratulations. You led a lap of that race. Well done.
Oh, yeah, nah, the only way I can lead a lap, mate. But, hey, yeah, I did it.
We have got a winner confirmed for the Best Presented Car Award. And the winner is, congratulations to MFR. Dan Stevens, congratulations on that awesome looking paint. Did a really good job of that one. So well done to you. You've won the prize for Best Presented tonight. We're not too far away from also hearing who the lucky door prize is. Which, may be delayed a little bit actually until after we've got the last few races, or the last race done. Tristo, what are your thoughts going into this final race? How do you think the drivers are going to tackle it? One thing for me is that some of the drivers would never have done this car and track together, being the full layout of Oran Park.
Yes, exactly, and that was the thought behind it. Look, I guess it's they can play it a few different ways, but really, if you want to get into uh, winning anything, I guess you need to be at the pointy end by the end of the race. But look, I think there's many who could take it home tonight, guys.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's probably 10 or 12 drivers that you could legitimately say could win this race. And then you've always got the curveball, too, of a potential safety car. Of course, they do have to pit as well during this race. So I stop for some fuel in this one, which is going to make things really, really interesting as well. I don't think... I know I've never, ever done a pit stop in the Legends car other than when I wreck out. So I wouldn't even know how long it takes to take fuel in these cars.
No, it's a little bit different taking fuel in these cars. It does take a little bit of time. It's not exactly your normal fuels hose sort of job like you would have in the likes of supercars or something like that. It's more NASCAR or Kia style where you've actually got the old fuel can and you've actually got to plug it in and pour the fuel in. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see who does what in regards to strategy and who does time that really, really well.
Get the old jerry can out and fill her up. The pit stop. There is a servo at the back of the track here at Oran Park. You may have seen in our blimp views earlier. The chopper cam. You can actually see they have actually scanned the Shell service station that was at Oran Park. Is in the sim, so that's pretty cool as well. We might need to go and get some fuel. Tristo, what are your thoughts for the night? How have you felt about the night and how it's gone so far?
Oh, look, I'm over the moon. Look, it's great to see everyone out here having fun. This was an event to get everyone together and have a bit of fun, and that's why we chose this car and this track. And look, it's working. So getting good feedback. So no, I'm over the moon.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think a lot of people forget why we actually do this to start with. I mean, sure, it's great that we've got some awesome races and there's some really cool prizes up for grabs with $300,000 in prize money from iRacing this year. But I think at the end of the day, you need to remember that when you first started doing it, you're doing it for fun and to have some enjoyment and make some new friends and have some cool racing, and to actually get back to the core of why everyone started, I think is really, really important and something we need to do a lot more.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's one of the things that I think a lot of people miss when they suddenly get into that competitive side of iRacing. It's you didn't actually get into it in the first place for the whole competitive side and money and all that. You originally found it and went, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. I'll have a bit of a fang, and then eventually the addiction started where you started buying wheels and pedals and screens and eventually upgrading your rig to the point you've spent pretty much what's worth the car on it. So yeah, it's one of the things that really does get lost in the massive world that is esports and sim racing in general. So yeah, it's one of those things you really do have to look back on when you do have sort of a frustrating time and actually go, I got into this in the first place because it's fun. There's no point getting angry over losing a competition. Let's just regather, refocus, and go, hey, we had fun in the end.
We're not too far off getting pictures through from the main event for tonight. Just a couple of tech issues going on in the background, and talking about the esports side of things, I know that we've had some huge things in the past, and can confirm that there are some big things coming in the next few months here on SimSpeed TV. So make sure you do stay tuned and check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/SimSpeedTV, also our website, simspeed.tv. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel as well, because there will be some huge things coming in the next few months. Mark my words, you will be amazed at what is going on in the future. Cam, I don't think you even know what I'm referring to here, which makes it even more exciting. Tristo, thanks for jumping in. It's been great to chat to you, and as we said, we love having these sort of events and having heaps of support within the community. We love putting these events on and helping out. Always good fun night.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, guys. And look, I'll catch up with you after the race.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you, mate. And of course, there are some big prizes still up for grabs. Our overall winner will win a really, really cool Jinx shifter, sequential shifter. If you haven't seen it, jump over to JP Simshed Facebook page and have a look at the photos of it. It is some beautiful, beautiful work that that they have produced. It's incredible. It's almost like a work of art, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, really amazing bit of kit and bit of engineering, to be honest. It's no easy feat to come up with that sort of thing, and really does take a bit of effort and time to design it and then put it into 3D modeling and then really actually put it into production and have it actually work really, really well. So yeah, well done to the guys at Jinx Shifters for putting out that awesome shifter, and everyone else that's contributed. It's just been so awesome to see so much support for this sort of event.
Big week here on SimSpeed TV as well. Don't forget, tomorrow night over on the iRacing Esports Network, we will have coverage of the Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia. Will be a 90-minute enduro from Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, which should be good fun. Friday night, though, we love doing fun events during this week, week 13. It's always good fun. It's back again. Move to Friday night this time around. We are going back for Max Bance. That's going to be one of the weirdest races we've ever broadcast here on SimSpeed, no doubt about it. The chance we might not even get a lap in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably actually going to be one of the more difficult races, I think, more than actual fun, with only being the goal is to not get the one single incident point that is going to be set as the limit. So yeah, you'll probably find that you either get everybody being very, very, very conservative, or no one's going to finish after one single lap of racing. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how that goes. And obviously, everybody's going to probably take the absolute mickey out of it and just go absolute crazy.
Yep, but we saw the last couple of renditions. I could speak. Geez, I'm butchering the English language today. My apologies. The last couple of renditions of Max Bance have been absolutely crazy. Remember back to the finished 10th in the NASCAR at Road Atlanta, where the drivers actually were going that slow. The race got counted back one lap. So all sorts of weird things can happen in that sort of thing. So we're looking forward to seeing how it all plays out, and from there we will then have Sunday night. We go back to from the furthest thing from serious racing to the most serious series we have here on SimSpeed TV. Virtual Racing School V8 Supercar Online Premier Series. Head to Imola. We head to Interlagos, the other iTrack, the other Autodromo. We go for reverse sprint thanks to Western Madison. It's going to be good fun racing there next week. Next Sunday, or this Sunday, I should say. So make sure you do tune into all our events this weekend. Next week as well, next Thursday night, we will debut something. We might still have Formula 3 once again. Thursday, we will end our voting. So make sure you do head over to our Facebook page. There is a link to vote for what you would love to have as our Thursday night broadcast. Cam, I know you're pushing for probably 2 or 3 options, but any of the 8 options we have available are well and truly worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's any of the options are going to provide some absolutely amazing racing, that's for sure. It's you can't go wrong with any of the options, that's for sure. So be sure to get into that poll and put your favourite series down, and you might end up having a broadcast for it.
Yep, Formula 3.5 matching the official schedule, IndyCar Road Series, so matching the road side of the official series, and then a custom schedule from there. Porsche Super Cup, possibly returning street stocks on road courses. That sounds like a bizarre option, but Cam, I've driven street stocks on road courses. We used to do it back in the day for the Race of Champions. Basically like HQ Holden racing from back in the day. It is fantastic racing. So if you've never ever tried those on road courses, make sure you do have a crack. Also got Aussie racing cars as a potential. We've got NASCAR trucks on road courses as an option as well. We've got the GT1, as you said before, and also the potential return of the Formula 3 Championship. 3 of those are leading well ahead of everything else. There is a 4th option that is getting closer. The other 4 are a little bit further away. I'm not going to say which one is anywhere near the other one. That could skew the voting, so make sure you do vote for the Thursday night series on our Facebook page. It is up now. Entries voting does close on Thursday. I know you voted already, Cam. I'm pretty sure you voted for the GT1. I'm wrong, am I?
Yes, you are. You are actually quite wrong. So
I know a few of the comms boys have voted for GT1.
Yeah, it's my choice is probably a bit far from what you'd theoretically expect. I know
for the S3 again,
but you're close. It is an open wheeler, but I might as well say it. I've voted for the IndyCar. I mean, I do definitely enjoy the IndyCar on the road courses. It's a lot of fun considering it is quite a high horsepower, high downforce sort of car, so it's a bit of a challenge. But on the road courses, it's actually very, very fun to drive. I know there was a fixed series that was run not too long ago. Unfortunately, didn't quite see the end of it, but it was very, very fun, very, very great to race, and should it actually make the broadcast for this one, it'll be really, really interesting to see how it goes.
Yep, as I said, there are 4 of those 8 that are well and truly in contention. 3 of the 8 are well and truly ahead, but the next 48 hours or so, there is a chance that could skew in one way or another. I have not voted myself because I didn't want to impact the voting, so make sure you do jump over and vote if you haven't voted yet. If you have voted, thank you for voting, and hopefully your choice gets picked, but whichever way it goes, I think we're going to see some awesome racing. Yeah, the oval cars on road tracks always turn on some really good racing, whether it's the legends as we're seeing here for Aussie racing cars, or NASCAR trucks, which we've seen in our friends at RaceSpot, broadcast a really cool series of super trucks, or whether it's the street stocks, they always put on good racing, and also the IndyCar as well. You can basically say that's an oval car on a road course. They're always good racing. The Porsche Super Cup, always fantastic. We've seen over the years the Porsche put on some fantastic racing. Formula 3 and Formula 3.5 will also be really, really cool as well. So whichever way it goes, I think we're going to see a really, really good show. GT1 as well, of course, is going to be a good show, as well as there's a bit of a revival of GT1 and GT2 in the AusNZ community. So either way, or whichever way it goes, it's going to be some good fun on a Thursday night next season.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be really, really good to revive a series or even make it shake things up a little bit. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
We're just about to get pictures through from our main event. Just waiting for the session to load up for us so that we can bring you some pictures. Here on SimSpeed TV, the final race of the night. 15 laps ahead for the drivers. Must pit for fuel. And of course, as we saw, there is the potential for safety cars to mix this up as well. So depending on when you pit, really mix up how the race unfolds, and whether you get caught out with the safety car, or whether you are in the right spot, or all of those different things. It's always an interesting dynamic of having safety cars and manual safety cars, as well as we've seen V8 Scops already from round 1.
Yeah, absolutely. The manual safety car adds a completely new dynamic. I mean, no longer is it you get the old box that pops up going, the safety cars come out, you can't enter pit lane and that sort of stuff. It's more race control's got complete control over what's going on when the police car leaves pit lane, when it comes in, when you can enter pit lane, when you can leave pit lane, when you can do a service, all that sort of stuff. So it's really, really interesting and makes it all that much better because of how you're able to replicate the likes of supercars or maybe Porsche or whatever series you might be doing.
Yeah, 100%. You actually have the option to pit under the safety car, which you don't really get to do in the iRacing standard safety car, which has worked previously in some series. Definitely designed more for the oval side of things. But we get into final practice, the final warm-up for the race. And these last 5 minutes could be crucial to some of these drivers who have never, ever done a lap of this circuit or of this circuit in this car. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big chunk of drivers that have never ever done a lap of Oran Park.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, majority of the field will have done Oran Park at some point, but doing it in the Legends car, probably that's a very small minority. I mean, those who did the Aussie Racing Cars series 2 years ago or a year ago will have a rough idea of what to expect, but for the most part, no one's actually going to really have any idea on where your braking points are or when to get on the gas or when to turn in or any of that sort of stuff. It's just going to be throw you in the deep end and try pedal your way through it.
Yeah, hope that you make the right decision and actually brake for turn 1, which will be the key. Braking for turn 1 and then following the up into turn 2, making sure you're braking properly into turn 2 is going to be the key. Brenton Hobson on screen. We'll see if we can watch this driver here, the 000 car, driven at the moment by Tristo. If we can follow him around the circuit and watch a lap as he's in the Porsche. Very tough car to drive, this one. Underrated how tough this car is. People just think and see big wing on the back and a Porsche, oh yeah, that'll be easy to drive. These cars are not easy to drive at all.
No, they're absolutely not, especially when you're pushing it to 110% every single lap. I mean, you see it the likes of in real life in Super Cup or Porsche Carrera Cup Australia or whichever Porsche series. These cars are not easy to drive. No traction control, no ABS, not a huge amount of downforce, not that amazing tyres either. So it really does, and the setup's very limited as well. So it really does bring the best of the drivers out, and the ability to try and adapt to the ever-changing dynamic that the car is, especially with the things that it's got, like standard shocks that you'd find in the road car, not huge amounts of downforce, and yeah, it's an awesome car to drive when you get it right, but when it bites, it definitely bites hard.
Yeah, 100%. It's a very, very tough car when it wants to buck you off the horse. It is not that that fun, but of course it will be the pro car in the road side of things this year, replacing the Formula 1 car. So Porsche, big welcome to Porsche for their association with iRacing 2018, 2019, and huge money up for grabs in the Porsche series. Got 2 drivers representing Australia and New Zealand in the Porsche World Championship this year with Jared Filsell and Josh Rogers. It'll be really cool to watch those guys go out there and see what they can do against the world's best.
Yeah, absolutely. Both Josh and Jared, both very, very good drivers in the Porsche. I know Josh is very quick in the Porsche itself, so it'll be really good to see how they go. I know they'll be pretty much up the pointing, but speaking of the Porsche, one other thing that we haven't actually mentioned is that it'll be replacing the current roof, or rough, or however you want to say it, as the safety car. So the Cup car itself will actually be the new iRacing safety car, and it's going to be very different to see that thing come out when a safety car gets called, for example, instead of seeing the old little road car that it currently is, a safety car.
Yep, so we could even see that as early as tomorrow night in the GT series, in the Sprint Series Australasia from Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing. So, that'll be cool to see that out on track. Remember to donate as well as we get into the final phase of tonight's event at paypal.me/JP's Sim Shed. Big thank you to everyone behind the scenes who has helped put together this event tonight. It's been a really fun night of racing so far. We've enjoyed it. Those who have been wondering, we've also donated our broadcast fee back into the cause as well. So very important for us to be a part of these events. We love being a part of these events, these special events for all different people within our community, because you never know when you need the help yourself, so you should always help out when you can.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to a good cause as well. Tristo's a really good guy, so to support someone like that is just absolutely awesome, and you couldn't ask for a better person to support.
Yeah, 100%, as we get ready to get into tonight's main event here at Oran Park. Absolutely love the view of the amazing Yokohama Bridge. Sadly, the circuit no longer with us. Actually go and live on the front straight if you wanted to at Oran Park, the suburb of Oran Park now. So so sad that it's gone, but amazing that we have it here in the iRacing service to live on forever. And while we wait for that start of the race, I'll just show you the Shell service station that I was referring to. You can actually see it off in the distance there. I don't know if you've noticed that that's there, Cam, but there you go.
I think I've probably seen it maybe a handful of times, but I've never really paid attention to it. I know there is a couple of tracks that have some cool little things like that. I know there's a BP station not far outside of Road Atlanta, and yeah, it's really, really cool that iRacing goes to that sort of detail just to scan all the things around the track.
Even got the waste oil bucket or bin at the side of the service station as well, as we pan back around and get ready to get underway. Gridding is underway now, and starting from pole, as we said, no surprise that Ethan Grigott will start from the front of the grid. Nick Cummings in second position. Third to Chris Coxhead, Josh Anderson in fourth, Brenton Hobson in fifth position, Ben Postlethwaite in sixth, Jack Boyd in seventh, Chris Keane in eighth position. It's on screen there. Ninth goes to Adam Briggs and Craig Ansbach in 10th position. The rest of the grid will be up on screen. It'll be a really cool race, as we said. 15 laps ahead for these drivers. It's going to be a real mixed up field. Be interesting to see how these drivers tackle this one as we get ready to get this race underway. 34 drivers out on the circuit for the final event of the night. Tristo's Grand Annual Race for Life final race of the night is underway. Green flag flies, and a great jump from the front row by Ethan Grigott, and also from Chris Coxhead as well. He's going to apply pressure here straight away to Nick Cummings around the outside. He's going to get the move done.
Yeah, looking like he's got the job done, although Cummings is going to hold on, and Anderson's going to have a look, but not quite going to get it. Hobson around the outside of Anderson into 2 and 1. He's going to possibly take the position there as he's up the inside. Anderson trying to give him as little room as possible. Well, Hobson takes the position, and now Cummings has actually lost out from Coxhead, and Hobson's probably going to take another position as well.
Bruce Can getting in amongst it too. Jack Boyd, Glenn Postlethwaite as well. But have a look at the jump that Ethan Grigott has already broken away at the front of this field. Nick Cummings just holding on to that third position, but it's on between Hobson and Anderson. This is a great fight, and also between Boyd and Postlethwaite. They've gone side by side for pretty much the entire lap so far.
Yeah, they're doing fairly well to actually stay side by side and not make contact. Really, really good racing. A little bit just outside the top 5, and just behind them, going on between Reese Ken and Adam Briggs, the 2 DPR racing teammates. It's definitely all on for pretty much everybody inside the top 10 at this point.
For the most part, single files. We're just seeing Clint Smith running a little wide, but we've had a couple of cars that have run a little wide. Grigott leads, and have a look at that gap that he's already pulled.
Yeah, it's a really, really big gap. Obviously, those behind have been battling quite hard on this initial first lap, but it'll be interesting to see whether Coxhead is going to be able to actually catch up to Grigott, and who else is possibly going to be able to come to this fight for the win, possibly.
It's been 2 cars that have had a little bit of an issue on the start of this race, I should say. Jeremy Stokes and Derek Mobbs both have had issues. Stokes turn 1 and Mobbs through the infield. Matt Hill also in the pits as well. We've got a bit of side-by-side action back in the field, though. Side-by-side here, Jonathan Ben, Casey Atkinson, also Rob Carmichael and Rob Bowden as well, side-by-side. We've got cars around. That's facing the wrong way to scary spot. Matt Morris just gets hit by Jared Steen, gets it going again as they're still side-by-side. Bradley Wingard and Craig Newell side-by-side here. And Newell tucks in behind. Chris Coxhead has lost 2.2 seconds as my inner Kiwi comes out. Grigott's just broken away at the front here.
Yeah, absolutely. He has, and Hobson's actually straight into the pit lane, so he's trying to get out of that field, well, out of that battle pack, and just try to get some clean airs. So first man to blink is Hobson in this. Obviously, that pit stop for fuel is required, so you probably have to do one at some stage. But yeah, Coxhead has lost out massively to Grigott and is dropping away further. As now Anderson is going to go for a move on the ups, try to go up the inside, and it comes contact.
And that's Posey straight through.
Posey straight on through, but a little bit more contact now. Boyd's going to come into this and go up the inside of 3 wide.
Wow. Jack Boyd, wonder watching this race. We just saw a car slow there as well. Jared Steen having some issues. That was that's Matt Hill as he comes back through the field. And also Grant Madford. That's a horrible spot to run off the circuit. Yeah, he's going to have to work hard to get that car facing the right direction. Ethan Grigott, 2.5 seconds to Chris Coxhead, but Coxhead now broken away after that move, or failed move, from Anderson and Nick Cummings. And Anderson probably a little bit sneaky in the end to get through there.
Yeah,
Oh, I just had a car blow up.
Yeah, I did actually as well. I'm not too sure who that was. Oh, it was Jack Boyd. Boyd is blowing the engine on the downshift into the final corner.
Sure has.
So we'll get a Motum Simulations replay of what happened there. So just coming through the final section of the circuit, he's coming to the final corner, I believe, and he's just been a little bit too quick on the downshifts. Obviously, quite easy to do in these cars, especially with the fact that you need to blip, so quite easy to over-rev the cars on the downshift. But yeah, really, really unfortunate for Boyd. He was doing so well as we're back to live.
He's doing a great job. Jack Boyd had already made a few spots, so got up to 5th position. But now we go to Nick Cummings, who's feeling a bit of pressure, a little bit of a bump from Adam Briggs right at the apex. And also in this too, Reece Keane. This front four are broken away. Greg Galt, Coxhead, Anderson and Postlethwaite. But Cummings, Briggs, Keane, all very, very tight and close here. Scott Harvey, he's had his 3rd spin in this race. He's having a bit of trouble.
Yeah, he's a little bit further back than he'd probably like to. Obviously, having a spin is not ideal, or making a mistake for that matter, but currently Briggs trying to get up the inside of Cummings. It's not quite going to work, but he's going to be tucked right in behind. Cummings is going to go defensive. No, he's going to sit stationary for the moment. Briggs going to duck to the inside, going to try and poke his nose out and try and make Cummings blink, but not quite going to do it. As he'll hold on for the moment, nearly contact, but Cummings will go defensive into the next set of corners. Briggs going to have to go the long way around the outside. Is he going to get the job done? Not quite.
Watch on board from Reece Keane. You can see both these guys using all of the road. What this is doing, it's now allowing Glenn Postlethwaite to just break away as Briggs onto the grass, coming in on a big hit.
Nice save by Cummings there. He was right out sideways from that contact. I don't even know he actually saved that. He was fully crossed up, kept the foot in it, and yeah, just managed to drive it off the corner. So great driving by Cummings there to save it.
Cummings did a great job of saving that, as you said. Now, Brenton Hobson is the lead car that has made his pit stop, had an 8.2 second stop, finds himself in 22nd, but the key number from this point here, 39. That is how many seconds behind our race leader in Ethan Greg Galt he is at the moment. Greg Galt coming into turn 1, almost run off the circuit there, but he's just breaking away from these guys at the moment. Jonathan Ben, Danny Vassell side by side. Casey Atkinson comes into the pits. Field has settled a little bit.
Yeah,
only a little bit. Oh no!
Oh,
Danny Vassell!
That is a big moment. He just pulls it up. I mean, I know Vassel's used to dirt racing and going sideways, but that was just as sideways as you want to get on tarmac. That's drift. For sure. I think it definitely was. I think there might have been a little bit of contact with the car exiting pit lane. That was Scott Harvey, so must have unsettled the car a bit, unfortunately, and he's managed to recover. But yeah, really, really not ideal for him there.
How aggressive some of these drivers are, bouncing it over the curbs as well. Vassell starts to break away from Justin Cottrell. We'll go back to the front of the field. We'll see if any of our drivers at the front decide to pit, as we are just about to complete the 6th lap, not far off halfway through this main event already. The racing has gone by very, very quickly. Chris Coxhead does come into the pit, so he's decided the gap's getting a little bit too big. He might as well come in the pit and undercut, or overcut, I should say, Brenton Hobson. Now, here's the car that these drivers are worried about. Ray Ansbach doing a great job at the moment, up into 9th position, and the pace that he's got looks really good. Last lap by 2 seconds quicker than Reece Keane.
Yeah, some really good pace from Ansbach there. I'm not sure what's happened to Keane on that last lap, because he seems really slow at the moment.
Yeah, he's just lost a heap of time, hasn't he?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what's happened there. Oh, I've actually just gone and had a look, and he's actually had a moment at turn 1 on that previous lap, and he's lost a huge amount of time in position, so not sure what actually happened, whether it was contact. Didn't look like it was, but yeah, really unfortunate. Keane has now got a lot of pressure from Ansbach now.
Hobson behind Coxhead after that pit stop. So Coxhead, a very, very quick pit stop. We go back to this battle between Keane and Ansbach. Craig Ansbach doing a very, very good job maintaining momentum. Just lap times look really consistent. His best lap, very, very competitive as well. Reece Keen starting to slowly pull back away, but nowhere near as much as he would be comfortable with. He'd like to start to break that gap a little bit more as we hit pretty much the halfway point of this race. Reece Keen does come into the pits. He's just starting to get held up a little bit with traffic. And also in the pits is Glenn Postlethwaite. Kyle Dawson, shout out to him. Of course, we saw him win race number 2 from the pole position. Currently in 5th in the main event. This goes to show that sometimes the results from race 1 and sometimes the grid in reverse grid races is never actually how the true field is matched up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really does bring out those that can actually drive in reverse grid races. We clearly saw last race that Kyle Dawson was actually able to manage to get from lights to flag and take the win in that one, but yeah, it's reverse grid races really do throw the field up completely and does make for some really excited racing with the faster guys having to make their way through the traffic and really think about how they approach the race.
Postlethwaite has just had a moment. He's gone around. Danny Vassell just coming out of the pits. But we were just watching there. Casey Atkinson and Clint Smith, Daniel Stevens as well getting involved here. The 16 car, which is a lap down, I believe, as well. No, it's not. Sorry, that's Rob Bowden. Also, Jack Boyd's coming into this battle as well as Bowden. Big bounce off the curb and almost into the side of Daniel Stevens.
You're really, really lucky not to end up making contact there. That curb is really, really aggressive, especially in these smaller, nimble cars like the Legends car. And there he goes. He's going to try for a move.
Atkinson and Smith have just changed spots 3 times in the last 3 corners. Sorry to cut you off there, Cam. We've got Briggs in the pits. We've got Cummings in the pits. We've got Dawson in the pits and Ansbach in the pits, as well as Jonathan Ben. So we've only got 3 cars left in the field yet to make their pit stop as we're into the second half of this event.
Yeah, Chambers, Anderson and Grego, the final 3 drivers yet to pit. And this race is it. I've just seen Clint Smith have a moment out of the final corner and end up looping it. So that's taken some pressure off Casey Atkins. He's done that all on his own, unfortunately. So he will drop down the order. But currently, Coxie doing a really, really good...
Ben's come out of his pack.
He's really, really heated. You got Bowden, Boyd, Ansbach, Bean, and I believe Matt Morris not too far behind. So many, many cars involved in this battle,
pack.
And it's all going on. They're going to be 3 wide at one point with a lap car. But Jack Boyd has managed to just hold on to that position.
Daniel Stevens in 12th. Goes all the way back to 17th position here for Matt Morris. What a pack of cars is Jack Boyd in the middle of it. We know that his pace is a lot better than what he's showing here as our leaders are in. Griggold and Anderson both in the pits. So Daniel Stevens is leading this little train as Casey Atkinson has started to pull away a little bit. This is an intense fight right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all on for the minor positions at the moment between likes of Stevens and Bowden and Boyd, and all of them. Boyd going up the inside of Bowden at the moment, and now that will allow Jonathan Bean to have a go. As now Coxhead
he's come out ahead
Anderson,
and he's closed that gap up to Greg Gault down to 1.6 seconds. The last lap was really quick from Chris Coxhead. He is the fastest car on track at the moment. Scott Chambers, the last driver to pit. Still yet to make his stop as we go back to that battle. Rob Bowden just being passed by Jack Boyd. Around the outside goes Boyd through turn 1. The shoot through turn 1 and 2. Amazing move. And now he tries to close down on Daniel Stevens. And Stevens is closing back in on Casey Atkinson.
Yeah, Atkinson a little bit slower than Stevens did. Not by a lot, but Boyd having a look. But it's just not quite going to be enough room to get it done. So this 3-way battle for what is pretty much 11th, 12th and 13th. And Bowden not too far behind in 14th. It's all going on for the minor positions at the moment as they head through the chicane. Boyd having a look, but not quite enough room. He's going to have a look up the inside. No, he's just going to stick his nose in and try and force Stevens into a mistake. But Stevens is a fairly good driver. We saw him actually do quite well in the international region of the major series last year. So he's definitely one that's got some pace on him as he's getting held up a little bit by Casey Atkinson, and that's going to allow Boyd to get a really, really good run on the exit, tucked right in behind. He's going to pull out and go towards the inside drag race down at the front straight. Boyd's going to be on the inside. Atkinson's going to be on the outside, possibly hold up Stevens here, and Boyd goes straight on by to take the position, but Stevens nearly comes back.
Atkinson!
Contact!
Atkinson off the circuit. Now Stevens running off the circuit. Another car around. That was a 030 car there of Jeremy Stokes facing the wrong direction. He's now gone back to the pits. Daniel Stevens, heartbreak for him. He was in for a really good result. He has dropped back down the field. We're going to go back to the front of the field. We will get a replay of that post-race and dissect how this race has unfolded. But we go to Chris Coxhead, who he said he got ahead of Josh Anderson. That gap was around a second. It has now dropped all the way down to 3/10, and it is closing quickly.
Anderson 3/10 a lap quicker that last time by, so is definitely a pace advantage there for Anderson. Clearly much more experience in these cars, having done a lot of Aussie racing car driving recently, and was at the Superloop Adelaide 500 as well over the weekend racing in the Aussie racing cars, so he's got plenty of on-track experience behind him, and even recently, so he's well and truly prepared for this event tonight. But yeah, it's laps are counting down, and Anderson's running at a time despite the pace advantage, and should those two actually battle as any harder, Hobson's not too far behind, and he's a 10th quicker than Anderson is at the moment.
Oh no, Ansbach just got the inside of Jonathan Ben, and there's contact between Ben and Anderson. Atkinson, I should say. And through goes Danny Vassell. Wowee. Been an intense mid-pack. Of course, Anderson had a massive crash on Thursday at the Superloop Adelaide 500, and lucky that he got out of that one relatively unscathed. He was not in, well, the car wasn't in too good a shape after the crash early in the weekend. Come back to a pretty decent result, which of course was won by our very good friend here at SimSpeed TV, Justin Rougier. Anderson looks really strong here. Second fastest car on track is Anderson. The fastest car, though, in the lead of the race is Ethan Griggold. Is up the inside of that lap car. That's a CMR car of Bradley Wingard. Looking really strong here as Anderson. Just not quite enough at the right moments to get a move done.
Yeah, it's just not quite enough, and that's what we were talking about earlier. These cars are so even, and the setup is so even that you just have to push the car that extra little bit, and it really does come down to the driver to be able to extract a little bit of pace. Anderson just under a 10th quicker than Cox said that last time by, and he's really good under brakes, but just can't quite get the run out of the corner at this point to get the position, as we see him there close under brakes, but then loses it on exit.
3 laps to go, 2.5 laps to go. Lovely shot looking at the lake in the background. Oh,
Anderson!
Oh, I thought that was going to be over for both of those guys. It's right out to the wall goes Chris Coxhead. 2 to go as they cross the line. Nothing separating Chris Coxhead and Joshua Anderson in this race. Of course, there's prizes up for grabs for overall first, second and third in this one. So it does matter where these guys finish. Rick got well and truly out ahead, but it's on for second and third well and truly.
And remember, this is the second overall as well, not just on track. So Anderson is going to look up the inside, not quite going to get it done. Luckily backs out of it, but it's so close between these two. Anderson going to look up the inside again, not going to get it done. It's so close, you just can't blink or you're going to miss something.
Bouncing off the curb goes both Coxhead and Anderson. Been a great fight throughout the night between these top 5 or 6 cars. All been working really hard. Now, just see Nick Cummings side by side. Big slide for Cummings as he's battling with Glenn Postlethwaite. Almost with a contact between these guys. Side by side through here does not work at all. I thought Cummings was going to make contact as Coxhead and Anderson change position. Anderson into second position.
Shots he run. Anderson's going to go defensive on the last lap of the race. It's going to be nothing in it between these two. Coxhead's going to have the run barely. Who's it going to be between these two? And Coxhead's going to go real deep under brakes.
Oh, what a move if he can do this.
Up the inside, bounce off the curb. Contact. Just going to get it done, and now Hobson getting really sideways in the background. Really has it. Anderson's going to try and send it up the inside again for second position. Contact. Coxhead gets really sideways, but Anderson, it's looking like he might have second at this stage.
Matt Morris has made a mistake in the background as well. He's looped it around. Continuing on, doesn't look like any other cars have been involved. Cole Dawson and Reese Keane also battling, but we're going to stay with this battle because this is for the podium. Brenton Hobson is on a charge. He's the fastest car out on track at the moment. Ethan Griggold has broken this lead out to nearly 5 seconds. He's well and truly got one hand on the race win, but still on between Anderson, Coxhead and Hobson. Who will take this one out? Of course, remember, Brenton Hobson won the first race of the night, also started from pole. But Ethan Griggold, what a drive. He'll hold on and pick up the win in the final race. Tristo's Grand Annual Race for Life. Josh Anderson will come home in second position. Chris Coxhead in third. Brenton Hobson does get fourth as Reese Keane is around on the last lap from 8th position.
Oh, contact with Kyle Dawson.
At the flip-flop.
Yeah, it looked like he had a bit of contact going side by side with Kyle Dawson, and fortunately that sent him around.
See here, on board with Reese Keane. Dawson was leading at that point. They were side by side. There's the contact. That's painful for both those guys. They've both had pretty heavy contact there. So we come back live to watch the finale of this race. Stephen Grimmer's just about to cross the line, but he's got Daniel Misdale well and truly hunting him down. Misdale's got a great run. Will he be able to get him at the line? It's going to be close.
It's going to be very close.
Gee, that's close.
Going to hold on.
47 thousandths of a second separating those two cars at the line. Also had another very, very close battle at the end here. Between two cars a lap down. Matt Hill just noticed that Craig Guthrie was battling with him on the timesheets, but Guthrie running off the circuit a little bit there. So that's ended that. But congratulations on the final race win to Ethan Griggold. Final race positions up on screen in just a moment. There they are there for you. Ethan Griggold, Joshua Anderson, and Chris Coxhead, your podium for the main event tonight. Brenton Hobson in fourth position, Adam Briggs in fifth. Glenn Postlethwaite in 6th, Nick Cummings in 7th, Kyle Dawson in 8th position with Reese Keane and Jack Boyd rounding out the top 10.
Just outside the top 10, we've got Rob Bowden and Craig Anspach, followed by Danny Vassell and Matt Morris, Tyler Bowen and Jonathan Ben in 15th, 16th. Behind them is Clint Shane Smith and Daniel Stevens, and then rounding out the top 20 is Stephen Grumman and Daniel Misdale after that very, very close finish. Yep, Ben Collard and Scott Chambers, the next two in 21st and 22nd. Grant Matterford and Rob Carmichael in 24th. Then we've got Jared Steen, Derek Mobbs and Casey Atkinson rounding out the drivers on the lead lap to 27th. 28th, one lap down for Scott Harvey, Brad Wingard, Matt Hill, Craig Gurry and Jeremy Stokes, and Justin Cottrell 6 laps down, and Craig Newell finishing 12 laps down, unfortunately. All the drivers jump in behind Tristo for the parade lap at the end of the race. Thank you to everyone for jumping in and having a bit of fun tonight. It's been a really, really awesome event, and at the end of the day, there's only been one winner, and that is Tristo, as we're here to help him out for tonight's racing. So big thank you for everyone for coming out and having a bit of fun and remembering why we're actually here sim racing in the first place, and that is to have fun. Yeah, absolutely. If you're not having fun, then you're doing it wrong. So yeah, well done to everybody on participating and taking part, and also well done to Ethan Griggold, Josh Anderson and Chris Coxhead on the podium finishes. Really, really good racing all night long. There was absolutely nothing in it between everybody, and I'm sure everybody had an absolute blast all night long.
Yep, we have definitely had a blast, and we'll get the drivers in for a chat very, very soon. We'll also get some details around prizes, lucky door prize, and also the driver out of MFR that has been selected as the winning driver for best presented. It will be an MFR driver, we've already said that, but the admins are going to chuck their hand in a barrel and give it to one of the drivers, because it is for the driver with the best presented car. So we'll see who they pick as the winning team, or as the winning driver, I should say. Get drivers just coming in for a bit of a cool down lap right now, and awesome field of drivers in the end tonight. We had 34 start the main event tonight, and 34 31 of those drivers are still out on track now, which is awesome to see. Don't often get this many drivers still stick around post-race and stay out on the track, so it's always good to see when we have drivers like this. But big congratulations to everyone for being a part of tonight's racing. Remember to donate www.paypal.me/JP's Sim Shed and donate. A few drivers actually look like they might be very low on fuel.
Yeah,
one of those is Hobbo.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if some people have put in the minimal amount of fuel they possibly could to try and finish. So, yeah, not quite enough to make the end of the lap, but enough to make the end of the race.
Yep. So, we're just seeing the drivers starting to pull over now because they are well and truly out of fuel. We'll get some drivers in for a chat very, very soon. We'll see if we can get some drivers in very, very soon anyway. And once we get them in for a chat, we'll run through our podium. Been a fantastic event, as we said, throughout the night. It's been all about Tristo and making sure that we can raise some funds for him. So that is why we've been here tonight. Has a few tech issues himself, but of course a big week here on SimSpeed TV. As we said, tomorrow night we do have the Geodesic Racing, the Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia, as we head to Spa for 90 minutes of endurance racing in that series. We also have Friday night Max Bant, so more fun racing here on Friday night, and then Sunday night we have Virtual Racing School V8 Supercar Online Premier Series. Now, we've got a few of our prizes best presented. We'll actually go to Danny Vassell from MFR. Hard Charger Award. But tonight we'll go to Tyler Bowen. Up the Hard Charger Award. So that a prize from Worm Paint. And a lucky door prize wins the button box. Got a Daniel Misdale. Congratulations to all of those drivers for picking up the prizes tonight. We will grab the first of our interviewees. Go firstly to Chris Coxhead, position 2 tonight. Congratulations. Oh, sorry, P3 tonight.
Got me all excited there.
Yeah, sorry about that. Chris, and also to you, Josh. You two boys, that was a pretty fun battle you two had at the end there. Of course, at the end of the day, we're all about having fun, but I'm pretty sure you two both had a smile on your face at the end there.
Oh, that was intense. Such a good event, like compared to the high pressure of what we're normally doing in the V8s and stuff. But yeah, didn't expect such a fun night to be so intense with that battle with Josh towards the end. There definitely had the pace on me.
Josh, it would have felt a little bit like being back at home in what you normally drive. Obviously, driving the Aussie racing cars, a little bit different, but the same concept at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's interesting to drive compared to sort of you sense some similarities and differences between the real car and the legend car. It was, as Chris said, it was a really fun night. Like that battle at the end, that was intense, and like I had the biggest smile on my face. That's what racing's all about. I think that was what the night's all about.
That's what I said to Cam throughout the night too. We need to remember that at the end of the day, we've all joined up to iRacing to have some fun, and I think that's forgotten a lot of the time.
Well, it's good because a lot of the time, some racing, and I'm not going to say that I don't get involved, but all the egos and stuff can sort of take over, and you don't have particularly what I would say a fun night of racing. Where tonight that was awesome. Like as I said, that battle at the end with Chris. Maybe I hit him a few times, which maybe I shouldn't have, but it's all part of fun and games.
That's part of it.
Yeah, that was awesome fun. That was really good. And the cars were good to race with. Same in the real world. Obviously, I know Aussie cars are pretty popular with the fans, and yeah, it was really good.
Well, congratulations, boys, on a great result. P2, P3. Josh, first to you. Who would you like to thank?
Venaval Sim Racing, my team, obviously. They didn't help me too much making a dock for the legend car, but they're my team, so I guess I should thank them. Then the sponsors, SimiCube, Direct Drive Wheels, and Draw Once. Yeah.
And to you, Chris.
Yeah, sponsors V8 Sleuth and Zuva, and thanks to Henry King for making up a quick livery there for me. And thanks to you guys for putting on such a great show.
It's been an awesome night. Thanks to you guys for putting on a great show for us. Well done in the end there, and a fairly intense battle to get it home. We weren't sure which way it was going to go in the end there, so well done for keeping it entertaining.
No worries.
Thanks, guys.
Glad we could provide some entertainment.
Well and truly did. So well done to both Josh Anderson and Chris Coxhead. We'll go next to the man whose night it's all about, Tristo. What a fun night of racing it was. And again, you got to lead a lap. And how cool was that, having all the cars behind you?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, mate. Just showing their appreciation for me, and look, it feels great. I'm lost for words.
The end, as I said to Cam, it's all about having fun, and I think tonight the events like this help us remember how much fun sim racing can be.
Yeah, well, look, that was my idea behind it. You know, like I said, you guys support me heaps and keep me going, and I thought, what can we do to give back to the community, bring everyone together, have a fun time, and give away some awesome prizes donated by some amazing people.
Yeah, big thanks to all of the people who have donated prizes tonight. JP Simshed, of course, JP, well done to you for an amazing event that you've helped put together, and Tristo have done a great job. Also to Velocity Motorsport Magazine, to Next to VR Cover, has been watching. Hello, and thank you also to Worm Paints. And big thanks as well to Jinx Shifters for their awesome shifter that they've given away tonight. It's, what an amazing amount of prizes we've had as well. It's great to see that there's so many big names within the community that are willing to get together and band together for such a good cause.
Yeah, the generosity is amazing, and look, we couldn't have done this without them, so thank you to all those guys that have gotten on board and donated the prizes, and the ones who have helped out as well. And there's too many to thank, and my head's spinning right now, so I can't think of them all off the top of my head. So
I think we'll let you off, mate.
Yeah,
of course,
bugging too, guys.
I'm sure you are, mate. It's been a very big night. Of course, you can still donate. Remember to jump on. It doesn't matter whether you can donate $1 or $1,000. Every single dollar that we raise will help Tristo and his family out, and be very, very important to make the next little while a little bit easier for you, Tristo.
Yeah, no, definitely. Look, every bit does help. Unfortunately, my wife having to care for me and my daughter as well. We can't work and that type of thing. So look, it does get hard. So look, big thank you to everyone. Big thank you to the community, and look, thank you. Yeah, I can't ask for more.
Well, we better let you go and go and have a rest. Thanks for jumping in and having a chat tonight. And we appreciate the fantastic event, and we hope that things we hope things improve for you and get a little bit better or a little bit easier for you over the next little while.
Yeah, no, thanks heaps, guys, and thank you for putting on an awesome broadcast too.
Our pleasure, mate. It's always very, very good fun, Cam. It's been an awesome night of racing, and we're going to wrap it up because unfortunately some tech issues have made things a little bit more frustrating than we would have liked, but it's been a really, really cool night of racing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been action-packed all night, been plenty of fun, heaps going on. Just, yeah, you can't ask for a better event to put towards a good cause.
Remember to subscribe to us here on YouTube. Also follow us like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter as well. We are at SimSpeed TV on both, also on Instagram as well, at SimSpeed TV. But for us here at SimSpeed, we thank you very much for tuning in. We thank all of the supporting partners behind the scenes for helping us put together this great event. JP Simshed, of course, well done to JP on putting this all together. It's been in the works for a little while, and glad we could finally get it up and running and put on such a great show. Also to Jinx Shifters and the other supporters as well. It's been a fantastic night of racing. Again, congratulations to our Lucky Door Prize winners, who were goes to Daniel Misdale, the Lucky Door Prize, the Mystery Door Prize of the Button Box from Krusty Box. Also to the Hard Charger Award, Tyler Bowen, the prize from Worm Paints. The Best Presented Car to Dan Vassell, and also the other awards, as we said, first prize to Ethan Grigalt, Josh Anderson, and Chris Coxhead, second and third, respectively. Cam, thanks for jumping in, and we will be back tomorrow night on the iRacing Esports Network for Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing, Sprint Series Australasia and on our channel here at SimSpeed on Friday night for some more fun, more laid back, more casual racing with Max Bantz. Don't forget on Sunday as well, we do have the V8 Supercar Online Premier Series from Virtual Racing School and also Western Mazda from the amazing Interlagos with reverse sprint racing. So we will have a reverse grid race. Until then, we thank you so much for tuning in. We thank you for watching. We thank you for donating. Until next time, it's bye for now.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going in the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to home.
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get full!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?